Anyway, yes, I guess this is where we do all the intro nonsense, right? Well, good hello, everybody. Good hello.
Good hello.
Good hello. Welcome to Starfinder, the Fragments of Eternity, session 76. Guess if this gets to 100, we all get a letter from the Queen, right? Is that how it works? I think that's how it works.
Should.
Yeah,
Mhm.
except she doesn't like Starfinder.
If you get to 15, you get a letter from
Not
Prince Andrew.
I think she wrote the poison rules, actually, Alexander. So,
Yes.
No, that seems like more of a Prince Charles thing.
I think no. Do we not get like a revised edition of the rules that are just slightly more obscure?
Do you mean where we've taken scissors to the normal rulebook? I think that's what you meant, yeah? Or we've just revised the rulebook again.
Oh no, we get the hard mode.
We get the harder version.
Oh my.
So,
So,
Starfinder.
yeah, Electric Boogaloo. Did we just skip 2? Yeah, just skip 2. 2 was probably going to be terrible anyway, so we'll skip
Yeah.
2. Just go to 3. Yes, it's that session, 76, I guess. It's the 9th of November 2020. I am Ryan, the GM still. I've managed somehow to get through 76 sessions and Zig's extra episode. So that's something. We're overdue for another Zig song, FYI Callum, track 2. Definitely need one of those at some point, no pressure. And I guess here are the players.
Good evening,
Mm.
and hello. I'm Nico, and I'm playing Zora as captain.
Oh, I'm next, am I? Well, this is unfortunate. Hello.
Hello.
I'm Colin, and I will be Michael Quint, who is your resident sneaky, spooky space Popo Bojo.
You
No. Emeritus. There you go. I'm done.
Excellent.
Hi, I'm Alex, and I'll be playing Weird, the android mechanic.
That was
Hello.
good, actually.
Oh, very good.
Seems like
Yeah.
You kind of threw me for a loop there. I'm like, oh.
Welcome to the meta.
That's the way, it's
You
I
have been
refuse
Queen
to
Gambited.
incorporate meta knowledge and character knowledge. You know, I don't want to mix
Or
those
knowledge.
two up. So
Yeah, knowledge
Or
is
have-
banned from this game,
knowledge
you know
is
that.
bad.
Knowledge
Good
is
hello
power,
and
read it
evening.
well.
It is Callum. As in I am Callum, and I'm
Hello.
playing Zig. The Burning Sun, the mystical space rat.
I'm glad you just make this painless every time. That's something I can always say, right?
I've eaten like so much popcorn that my teeth are all like, ah. You know when you get bits of popcorn in your teeth?
I don't eat popcorn.
Ah,
Good idea.
that's a
I
wise
do,
move.
because it's good.
I'm very full of popcorn, so if I start popping, that's why.
Just don't microwave yourself.
Yeah, because like I don't think re-microwaved popcorn's good, right? Then I guess I don't like popcorn initially, so maybe re-microwaved's the way to go.
I don't think anyone's ever done that, and I don't think they should.
Would it just get bigger?
Your secret is popcorn shouldn't be microwaved.
Mm.
Cooked in a pan like the old days.
But I mean,
Or just you set it on top of an iron.
I was about to make a joke there about how pans aren't woke anymore, and then my brain went into woks, and I went on my own
Pans
little
are
mental
Pans
yeah.
are not walked. What
So-
is now LBGT plus just anyone who fancies.
It's just
You're a heterosexual guy. That's fine. You can do one.
well, I mean, ally, right? Like one of the A's in that is ally. So you know, why not, right?
Group that
Inclusivity.
includes people who aren't in the group.
Mhm. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
That's like the
Listen,
best group. They're the most
ally
inclusive.
Is just
Calm down there,
means
Bertrand
that-
Russell.
Wow.
Yeah, like where'd you go from that? Anyway, so who remembers what happened last time?
Spaceships and
Dragons? Yeah, is that what we're calling it now?
That is the name of the system, right?
Yeah, sure. Yep.
we went off to see Babak, and Babak was like, "We're coming on board," and then but they're not. They're just engulfing the ship Star Wars style, and now we're pretty boned, and who knows what's going to happen.
Specifically Star Wars style? Like,
I mean,
Hmm.
fair, right? Like, or I guess like,
Moonraker.
yeah,
Which is any sci-fi.
Moonraker, yeah.
Or-
Not any sci-fi.
Was it like Battle
Yes.
Planets?
I don't think
right?
Donated did it.
No, but it would have.
That's in the reboot.
Maybe one of the Terminators had a machine eating something else. What was that one in the
Terminator
future?
2 might have been able to if the Liquid Boy had been able to just like zoop right around John Connor.
You wonder why it didn't just do that, right? Like, just basically was liquid armor for people.
Oh,
You
the
know?
plot.
Probably, yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's contract.
Probably, yeah. But anyway, what else happened? Anything of note?
In Terminator 2.
Sure, why not?
Plenty. Well, there's this great scene where he's got these roses, right? And it's like a little nod to the theme track, the soundtrack,
The theme
Wow.
track.
soundtrack.
Colin's
This
broke.
is the theme track to my
The
life.
soundtrack which features
I would
You
like to
Could Be
retract my
Mine,
joke and back out the segment.
which is one of Guns N' Roses' better tracks, I would say. You Could Be Mine is
No.
a pretty good track.
I keep getting confused between T2 and T3, right?
T2
Wow,
T2 's
I was
the
gonna
one
say,
that's good.
yeah, T3 is bad. Yeah.
I don't remember either of them that well. This is the problem.
The good thing about T3 was that it ended. Because it starts and you get a really
T3
good chase scene at the start, which is actually quite good. And
Yep.
then that's it, I
There's some
think.
good explosions.
It was weirdly
rest-
trying to be super poignant though, and I don't think it mattered, right? Ultimately.
Nobody cared.
Yeah,
He called her the Terminatrix.
yeah, that's fair. Was it Christian Loki?
Well, grammatically is completely correct. Terminatrix. Yeah, that is correct. It did have the unfortunate side effect of making it sound like she's like a super dominatrix.
She did spend the entire time in a leather catsuit.
Yeah, or like a Nazi dominatrix maybe, or something like that.
She was very Aryan.
Yes, it
Mhm.
wasn't. Yes.
Mhm.
Are the machines actually Aryans?
So here we
You
are.
decide.
Here we are.
On
This
to the
is-
king.
I understand why Fallout had so much trouble with this number as well now, quite frankly. But anyway,
If Netflix will retweet this one.
if you all decide to tweet about it first and then tag your favourite relevant shows in it, maybe.
If we keep talking about Nazis, we can get Amazon Prime to.
Wow. Is this like a Man in the
Back
High
us.
Castle vibes? Is that
No,
what we're
it's
going
just
for?
Jeff Bezos is basically like a Nazi.
I mean, that too. Like, that too, but also, I don't
He
really...
does also own Twitch, so.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like all hail our overlord. The opinions of these
Glory to the
people...
Bezos.
Yeah, right? Like, very Kent Brockman vibes.
Listen, Alison. Look, you're not Google.
Not yet.
I'll give you that.
Don't be evil.
Never trust anyone whose slogan is "Don't be evil."
I mean, nobody who speaks German could be evil. Right, Colin? So anyway, anything else you remember from the last session?
Shopping!
Shopping.
Wait,
There was a lot of
shopping?
shopping, yeah.
Mhm.
There
I
was
think I made a joke about
shopping,
people with something.
There was getting kidnapped by Babak, possibly, probably.
It's a
We're in
strong-
jail.
We're not. That hasn't happened.
It's
Yeah.
Coney.
Listen, if you're determined to make it happen, I'm sure you'll come up with a way. But let's just take it as it goes. You know, it's fine.
We're in jail.
Act cool. Everyone will be all right.
Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. Yep.
100% in jail.
Oh dear. So yeah, if that's everything then.
Oh, and
One
we've
of
got
jail
brain
wings.
comms.
Door puzzles.
Mhm.
I fucking hate door puzzles.
I mean, was there door puzzles really?
I don't know. I don't know. There might be door puzzles in
Don't
jail. I
remember
don't know.
door puzzles.
I assume there is.
Like,
I think you mean locks.
yeah. Like,
I hate these door puzzles.
I don't get how to put a key in the hole, right?
oh my. I mean, fair.
Wow.
It's like a very inventive burglar. Just man, I need some help with a door puzzle.
Oh,
Make
dear.
take a look at this one, lads.
All they give me to work with is this key, and what am I gonna do?
Got big claws, so right? It's hard to like hold on to the key. Like,
Hmm. Now we get into the grittiness of this, right? What do Vesk keys look like? Here we are. Here we are. Yeah, guns.
Go with cards, mate. Swipe cards. So much easier.
The doors.
How'd you hold them with like your
your
claws, like the swipe card? It is-
Tap cards, mate.
Okay.
It's like the ones we just tap, right? Like that. Much easier.
I mean, okay, sure. Anyway, so this game, goals. Let's have a look at those things that are in play. Apparently,
the goal page.
yes. So our general goals currently are: speak with Ramasethu, prepare and embark for Eox, retrieve Ivan, the king of the Oh Baby, do you know what that's worth? Determine how involved or complicit Babak was, and repair the fleet, aka the Kivalari. Personal goals, folks? Hit me up.
Well, the correct rankings for the crew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Still done.
I think we should incorrectly rank the crew.
I mean, you haven't heard the ranks yet, so just you hold on. I at least know the ranks of the crew, but whether or not Nico
It's
says all this.
Ronks.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should continue with our goal of retrieving Cindeil's electroencephalon.
I think so too. It's a good one. Weird. Who is muted?
I'm gonna sell spines to the masses.
Yeah, fair.
That's it.
Sig.
Established
Amazon's
tonight
fine.
has access to the vault and persuade her to take me. Ooh.
Yeah. Okay,
Religion is the spine of the masses. Or something.
sure. Okay.
So
So
mass is the spine of.
Yes. Mass is very important to some religions.
yes. So
So true.
anyone listening that fancies DMing the rest of this game, just let me know.
Wow, we've
we'll-
abandoned boys.
We'll talk terms.
That would
be
be
an
an
economic
game over,
ban.
fools.
Like, whew.
The great man once said, "That's a lot of fish."
So, you find yourselves engulfed, as Zig rightly so said, in, and I named the ship finally. It's no longer called the Immortal. It's called the Calm Before the Storm.
Of course. Foreboding.
I thought you were going to call it El Immortal.
No, nor My Immortal.
Oh, well, that's
Mhm.
unfortunate.
What is it? Immortal's just another kind of mortal.
So, yep, it's the Calm Before the
Ebony,
Storm.
darkness,
Fire. Water.
Our Water Burn, which was a track.
Yep, here we are. So anyway, anything you want to do on the ship while it's kathunked on the hangar floor, as it were?
How quick can Weird make a bomb? I'm just joking.
Um.
I mean, it's a good plan. How quick can you make a bomb?
Already ready, Captain. We just need to insert the explosives.
Oh, that's right. You've got the bomb, not bomb. I'm forgetting.
Not bomb.
Not bomb.
It's exactly like a bomb, but without the
not
explosives.
Bomb or
Bomb.
not bomb?
Everything without the plastic.
I feel like that would be a better deal or no deal.
Yeah.
Bomb or not bomb?
or no bomb.
Is the alternative though like money? Because isn't that like a no-brainer? It's like, do you want the bomb or the money box? And you think,
Yeah, but you don't know which one's which.
I mean that's more interesting. Yeah, I'm into
That's
that.
the game.
Okay.
It's probably a lot
It's like,
quicker. too.
aha! There's the 50p box. Oh, it's a bomb.
It's probably less likely to get return, specials, right? Where they bring back, the old losers, right? To win
No, but
again.
they can bring back the old winners for an all-star game.
Would you go back? Is the thing if you won that game?
Have you seen the Hunger Games? They don't have a choice.
Okay, sorry, I forgot we jumped straight to, tier 2 dystopia, not just the tier 1 dystopia we live in now.
Seen the Hunger Games because I'm an adult. Now let me get my comic books and toys.
You're here to roleplay. Shut up.
Yeah.
So-
Hold on, my Jason figures need to go up on the wall.
Oh dear.
Where's is there somewhere?
Is there somewhere?
Yes,
somewhere.
there's at least somewhere.
Zig might pop himself in like a wee like vent or a smuggling compartment or something.
Okay. Yeah.
And voice this to the crew in his mind.
Oh yeah, because we can do that.
Yeah, you got Mindcom.
Just in the off chance that we all do go to prison, it might be handy being on the outside.
Oh, so
excellent.
if you'd have had it outside, is that how it is? What about me? I could try to say I could fit in a bed.
I'm just trying to say the vent is a better chance of fitting inside you, I think is what we're saying.
Wow. I feel shamed.
I mean, no, just, I mean, Zora's mighty, right?
Yeah, he's a big guy, right? I mean, I guess. Well, right.
Would you say he's a pretty big guy?
He's a pretty big guy, aye. He's pretty as well.
Mhm.
And
He is actually kind of
Yeah.
pretty, yeah. Like,
Oh,
is it weird that we know how Vesk beauty standards work, but we don't know the poison rules? Is that like, that's weird.
in your eyes.
Oh dear. But yes, anyway, so, MD mind calming or physically speaking to Zig about him trying to hide in a event? No.
I will
Directly
I will-
forward, mildly horrified.
mind back. Good idea. Because that's what my mind sounds like.
That's the only thing you can say telepathically. Good idea! It's just a Zora gif with a thumb.
Right idea, kid.
Thanks,
dear.
Captain. Yeah, I guess to go hide in a vent or a something.
Roll
somewhere.
stealth or whatever the equivalent culture-based
Yeah.
skill is.
Culture.
Stealth and culture, I guess.
Okay, you got a
You
21.
need to know the culture of the police so you can avoid them, you know? Like,
Institutionally racist.
Yeah, there you go.
So, okay, so Zig just finds a vent and climbs into it. Yeah, I think over your like shipwide comms, they've got what was his name again? Did I even write it down? I don't think I did write it down.
oh,
Never
what was it?
Something.
Tim. It was Kim. Or
Johnson.
it was
Ensign Tim
Can't
or
remember.
something like that.
it
Like,
was a it was definitely a play on Kim because I was taking the piss at him.
Tim
Ensign.
Johnson, something like
I think
that.
it was Tim. I think it was Tim.
We could just look and find out.
I mean,
Tim or Jim. I'm pretty sure it was Tim.
I think it
yeah.
was Tim.
Wow, that was weirdly. This guy was remembered apparently. So yeah, I thought I wrote his name down, but
Tim Jim.
apparently I didn't. But yeah, so Ensign Tim is who it is now. So his voice comes back over the comms, and he says, "Please meet the boarding officers in the cargo bay." And then the comms go dead. And I think like Shaka stands up next to you, Lyko, and she kind of walks over to you and kind of like grips like your forearm a little bit, and just says, "All things considered, I appreciate that you came for me, Quint." She kind of just like nods, like kind of in that kind of not really looking at you when she's saying this, you know. She just nods and then she like walks towards the cargo bay.
I see. And after a second, or rather after a beat, because this is a story after all, I follow.
I actually thought you were going to say, and I say, "What about breakfast at Tiffany's?" This is where I thought you were going to go with that.
She said, "I think I remember the film," and I said, "Oh, I think we both kind of liked it."
Hmm. Yep.
Anyway, yeah. So I will continue to what is traditionally known as the cargo bay.
Yeah. What's everybody else up to besides being an event? So, where do we find weird?
Sitting eagerly close to the bomb trigger,
Okay.
waiting for orders.
That is in the cargo bay, right?
Yep.
Yep. Good. Okay. Captain, where be you?
I'm
Why
not
was
trying to
so
squeeze in the event. No, I'm just, I'm
Oh, hey,
just-
Captain.
Hi, kid. No, I'm just gonna go to cargo boy. I'll just go to cargo boy.
Okay. I don't know why this was like the first perfect GIF, actually. Oh well. Yeah.
It's a Pokemon.
So yeah, like maybe a good these are in the cargo bay assembled. A good 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes pass, and then there's like a big thunk of the big heavy doors sliding open. And as they open, you've got the nice, jets of air that are pressurizing and equalizing. And as they open, up the ramp come like a good 20 or so steward officers, all fully armed, but none of them like specifically pointing guns. They're just all very well armed and armored as they all board. And one of them approaches the group and looks over, and it says, Lyco Quint and Zora de Ora.
Not.
Well, I will certainly not.
It's like, you are wanted by Commander Babak. Are the rest to accompany you, or to be seated elsewhere?
No, this is out of character. Let's mind chat.
I was gonna say, you don't even.
Yeah.
Like, I think not everybody being in the same place is a good idea, but I don't know. I wasn't thinking.
Shakos is already taken away by some of them, and by taken away I mean they spoke to her and she went with them. There wasn't any like dragging or cuffing or anything nonsense like that. But she's already gone.
Do we really have any suspicion? Like, on a serious point, so we could just all go.
Because I don't see any particular reason to be suspicious of him, but I wouldn't. So you can look at it that way as well.
I would, but just because.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
Okay, if we're doing it mentally, I will say Captain, I don't think there's any reason for them to be concerned, and having people lurking around the ship that's supposed to be investigated is probably only going to make things more suspicious.
I would just kind of like probably see me nod just instinctively and think I'll be thinking my brain thinks. Well, if you think you say so, just go for it.
Sorry, I'll let you speak.
And I'll just probably say, no, they'll probably be accompanying us.
Okay. Kind of nods and says,
It's hard.
"Is this everyone?" And looks to obviously Lyco and Weird. And looks back at
you. Keepsake. Secret. Mind speak.
I don't know.
Didn't feel my guns blazing, right? This seems kind of normal to me. I mean, this is what anybody would do even not be claiming a ship, really.
Yeah,
Mhm.
nothing so far seems at all out of the norm. I will mentally then say, ask him to come along with it. It's only going to cause problems if they find him sneaking around.
Okay.
I agree.
I guess Zig would leave the vent, preferably not coming out of a vent in the cargo bay, and go to the cargo bay from wherever that like ventilation area is.
While we're saying this mentally, I would.
Yep. I believe one more of
Oh,
a crew on its way.
The steward officer like nods
And
and says,
like whenever Zig gets in, Zig gets in.
"Yeah, like, just like slowly, there's like rat's tail falls down the you know, the ladders that are above, and as you hear like clunk 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 as you climb down." Yes, the steward officer
That's
says,
Little mouse room.
looks at everybody and says, "You are significantly overdressed for the occasion." And then kind of just looks straight at Zora.
I mean, is this where?
He like shuffles his gun between his arms, you know, unsubtly.
I'll holster my. I'll sling my gun.
And then there's this awkward moment. Like, 30 seconds pass, and he says, "You'll need to leave your weaponry here.
Die roll.
And
Doesn't know
any
my
armor."
armor.
Looks at the fucking walking titan that is weird.
Don't know. Wait, do you want me to leave my armor?
And then he says, "On the ship will be fine. My officers will not interfere with your equipment. We are merely here to search Kivalari."
How normal of a request is this for, friendly terms?
I mean, these are all.
I've got to. I should probably pretty normal.
I was gonna say, like, this is like you're going onto like a police boat, right? And these are all walking mercenaries, so, and mini arsenals, right? So, yeah, they wouldn't just let somebody.
Leaving behind armor seems a touch.
I mean, I think he means a power armor. I don't think he means always need to strip down. I think he just means the walking tank, man. Is that what, am I right in that?
The one with the weapons, like nuke cannons and stuff built into it?
Yeah,
Like, I mean, yeah.
Right, cool. Right. It doesn't mean us take our armor
There's
off.
casual wear, and then there's, battle wear. Yes.
It only has 3 cannons attached.
I feel like you've kind of justified it, right? So,
Can I go back into my quarters where there is nobody else?
I mean, you don't have quarters in this
Or
Kivalari,
somewhere, a
but you can definitely find somewhere, yeah.
And just pop it in my null space chamber.
There's the cupboard, remember? In the
Yep.
You can squeeze in there, I guess.
Squeeze into the cupboard, take the armor off, put it in the null space chamber on my wrist.
I will simply set my guns down.
I guess I will put my gun on the floor. He's just done.
Doesn't bother me too much, paranoid as he is. He is still armed.
I'm pretty sure I might have a cold weapon now, so it's fine. Yeah, I'll just put my gun and just probably next to like the entrance, so the cargo bay.
Yeah. And once
Well,
when you all reassemble, is anyone trying to sneak weaponry besides the null space chamber boy here?
Did my arms count?
I mean, yes, because they are weapons, but that's a very grey area, right?
I can't be expected to take my arms off.
That's
Yeah.
like me getting told to clip my nails before I go in. Like
It's when they give you like oven mitts and like lock them on you. So yeah, as I said, is anybody trying to sneak weaponry in that isn't weird, who is actively sneaking a fucking walking tank? Yep.
No,
Okay.
can't really take my head off. So.
This is true. Yet.
That's how I feel about my armor.
It's fair. Also, my favourite thing, like, is the cape mounted on your armour still, or is it on you now? Because I feel
I'm
like,
gonna take it off the armor.
yeah.
Like it's just tied around my neck and it sticks out the back of the armor. But that would kind of ruin the seal, wouldn't it?
Probably. I mean,
Um,
it's a cool idea though. I don't hate it,
Right.
but it's
I've definitely I have installed cape mounting points on either side of the neck of the power armor, and I can detach it and put it on.
It's just a magnetic strip, actually. It just works like a fridge. It's super easy. Yeah.
Detachable, so you
Yep.
don't get any of those awkward moments where you shut it in the spaceship door.
Exactly. Right. You know, like the was it the Xbox cable? You know, things as well where they
Yep.
snap if you trip over them. Yeah. It's good.
That was a clever bit of design. Considering.
It's because the Xbox, like original, was a beast of a machine that would kill children if it fell. just not your children, just randomly in the world. You know, the
Whereas
butterfly
new one,
effect.
they've gone the other way around.
Yeah, yeah,
You can drop bits. Children can drop things into it to kill it.
which is
What?
yeah.
There's holes in the top of the new Xbox that are totally like you can easily drop crayons and shit in them.
Mhm.
Alright.
It goes straight into the proper mechanism of the machine.
It is also about the size of a child that would do that as well. So
Yeah.
you know, there is that.
It's
not
like you
good.
just made large holes in the top of your PC.
Yep, welcome back. We weren't saying anything useful, if that helps. So anyway, yes, you all are then escorted through the halls of the calm before the storm, and yeah, you are led up many very friendly, accessible corridors, all the way to what seems to be a conference room of some kind. It's all like glass walls, and you see Babak standing over like a holographic table, and these are led in as he waves his hand, one of the many that he has for you to enter. As you enter, he then just, with one of his hands, dismisses the person that came to you, and that steward stands outside. Glass panel appears to seal the room, and then all the windows turn opaque. And he then says, "Quint, Dora," and he kind of like acknowledges both of you like individually and nods. And he looks at the other two and says, "I am unfamiliar."
This is Zig and what's his heel, sorry? Oh, I weird, of course. Wow, man. How he'd
So
Captain
like you step out of your armor once, okay? Weird, and this is what happens to you.
How can
I
you not recognise me? I'm the one with 8 limbs.
I mean,
The big one
Yeah.
with 8 limbs.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yes?
he's
Can
got.
you spend that time getting them attached?
No, you've not had that yet. He's went to
That's
Babak
not-
first. You went to Babak first.
Oh, we did.
You're not
Yep.
interacting yet. Like,
No, you've
Yep.
been bisected.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we had that decision last time. It was the will we
Yes,
have you with several, maybe a week of downtime to heal, or will we just deal with Babak first? So they were tempted to leave you to do that, though. I think that was discussed as well, leaving you in the recovery while they dealt with Babak, but it was that was forgone. So you're almost 8-limbed. Almost.
almost on the precipice.
Mm-hmm.
Eight
The
liberty.
precipice of 8 limbs.
Mhm.
Like
They are
you
sitting
saw.
there waiting for you, and hopefully CC never finds them before they're on you. 'Cause-
They look ridiculous on him.
but
They wouldn't go on him. They'd be
Has been
larger
told
than
to
him.
make a
by
superior starfighter.
think about his mech dreams that he has that the
True.
captain promised him. So
I am his mech dream.
right, so your armor just has to have like a seat at the back of it just for him to sit in with like a Fisher Price, controller. Um,
I can get another tactical scaffold on the other side
there you go.
with him on it.
Sorted, right? What more could you need to terrify the enemy, right? Just send them in.
The Starium will fall beneath us.
And then probably so would CC. But anyway, so Babak nods to Zig, and then it says, like, most curious when he's looking at Weird. He nods to you as well. Mostly because you look somewhat between an android and a Kasathan, which is unusual.
Rude.
I mean, it's the very fact that he summons a Kasathan said most curious is probably a big compliment in Kasathan culture.
yeah.
As opposed to,
Don't say that out loud.
racism. Yeah, but does everybody else hear it though? Because Sometimes saying things on the inside isn't so private anymore, thanks to Zig.
Ice cream.
Okay, good.
Internal screaming.
Yup. It says, I see you were successful in recovering the Kivalari. This is good, I assume. And he looks at all of you.
It was not without issue, as we mentioned. Overcome. Captain, I hope you don't mind if I take the lead in this, but
I will do the gesture of hands that says "Be my guest."
thank you, Captain.
I guess.
When we first came on board, we encountered two bodies which quickly animated as we approached them. You will find the remains of several, mostly non-crew, animated individuals who are no longer animate. During our confrontation with these animated bodies, we encountered additional and seemingly hostile aliens, specifically the unknown race referred to as the Greys. Strange as it is to say, encountered, I believe, 2 or 3 of them. It's difficult to keep track due to their ability to walls and general slipperiness. They attempted some form of psychic attack against us with limited success. They certainly can inflict debilitating pain, but when we initially encountered them, it seemed like they were trying to do something else. I responded confusion when it didn't work. Presumably, didn't work. Records indicate that changes to brain chemistry caused by interaction with the Greys were present in all members of our crew who we could confirm had interacted with them, and not present anyone couldn't confirm interaction, such as Jackass, who stated that he had no awareness of the Grey presence in the ship. Additionally, the captain of the ship, who appeared to have he probably feels a little uncomfortable saying this to the officer's commanding officer, who appeared to have taken his own life using his sidearm, also revealed indications of least attempted contact.
And there is like physical movement when you're mentioning this, right? Like you can clearly see that like Babak is maybe just like mildly uncomfortable hearing that from like an officer, right? Like it's maybe not a great news to hear.
Yeah, whether the circumstances of his death were due to mental interference or the unfortunate effects of whatever he had been exposed to, which has caused his remains to crystallize, much as the remains of the animated bodies did. I can only speculate.
So now let's rewind a bit. Keep in mind the guy who shot himself was.
Oh no, sorry, he's not the captain.
And he wasn't crystallized. Remember?
Right. The
The
guy
one
who
that
shot
shot
himself was not crystallized.
But the captain was, but wasn't. He hadn't shot himself yet.
I have merged these two people into my brain. I will
It's okay.
retcon what I just said.
Yep, it's fine. Yep.
I actually didn't see the captain. I said an officer aboard. There you go.
Yep.
And now I will add the captain. Was found in the midst of entering a data log. And his condition was similar to that of the animated bodies. So it appears whatever happened to those who did reanimate was also happening to those who did not. Suspect it may be due to the weapon. Your men should find a sample of the weapon, which may have escaped its containment in. It's in one of the.
Upper
Is it starboard?
upper right sort of starboard, yeah.
Upper starboard airlock. Best we could do to contain it.
You see him like his two lower hands obviously have a data pad in one, and he just quickly taps that away while you're talking. And you can probably assume that he's just updating, the search crew.
Did I tell him over comms that the communications had been in Vesk? Did I mention that?
I don't think so.
No, I didn't think I would have. There was one other oddity I noticed while we were looking through the communications, what we could retrieve, and the recordings from the datapad. It all appeared to be entered in Vesk.
I kind of nods, just kind of like once, kind of acknowledging both you and Zora are probably standing next to each other.
Yeah, probably.
And then he says, "Did you learn any of the answers to these questions?"
No. That's way.
We can say only that from what Shakas has told us, and from what you've been able to confirm, there was contact with Vesk, and that did lead to it was the number of the crew they took away, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it was like the crew that wasn't Shakos, that random guy who shot himself, and was it
A
crewman
number
Stu?
of members of the surviving crew. We can confirm the presence of some sort of bioweapon on board, and that there were additional, let's just say, unknown hostile aliens referred to Greys, whose involvement. I just visibly shrug. Whose involvement is mysterious to us.
You're just saying, like,
There did seem-
you hear him just say
sorry.
most curious, right? Just like almost, uncontrollably. He just kind of says that at a fairly quiet volume, because that's a weird thing to hear as well, right? That Greys
Yeah.
were involved in this.
Is there anything else I should add? I think.
Yeah, has he missed anything? Do you think? Anything else that's worth highlighting?
Not really. No.
I may actually have a thought. Actually, now that I say that, the point in the lab that looked like it had gone boom, as it were. It may be worth mentioning. So, your men may find the lab looks like something has gone awry there. I don't know if a mechanical failure or even a fight broke out, perhaps, but it does appear quite possible that the bioweapon was in some way unleashed within their med lab, leading to an outbreak.
It seems like a great deal happened aboard the Kivalari then.
I would not. I mentioned to him, I believe, that we found his thingy board, didn't I?
I don't think so.
There was okay. In that case, I will mention it. There was additionally discovery made in the captain's chair. Commander, there was an ID belonging to yourself.
I think like he looks up from like the holo table. Obviously has like a bunch of varying information on it. And he says, I see. And looks at you. Says, and what did you ascertain from this discovery?
Nothing, frankly. Chakos confirmed that you hadn't been directly on the ship at any time during the mission. As far as she was aware, no records indicated you had, so its presence was bizarre.
He stands up like straight instead of kind of like leaning slightly over the table as he's perusing it with his data pad in his lower left hand, and then his like two lower hands like fold behind his back, and his two upper ones just kind of go by his side, like kind of off of the table as he stands up straight and says, I had command of the Kivalari on the mission prior to its departure on this surveillance op. And just stares you blankly, and that is like the most monotone, voice possible, in the sense of, I understand you are suspicious because of this fact, and here is the answer.
Can I sense motive?
Yeah.
Of
course you can, because rolling dice is what we do in this game.
I think I may have a response to that, but it would depend what you say to me.
Now tell me what you were kind of looking for from this sense motive.
So, obviously, to see if it felt like an excuse, or, like he was cutting off before I could ask anything else that might be impertinent.
So, no, yes, and it doesn't seem like it's bullshit either.
Okay.
Because you've worked with like Babak enough, and you've had a lot of private chats with Babak enough that he'll cut the bullshit line if he can, and go straight to the part where he'll just pull out the, here's what you think and here's the answer to that. Let's move on. When he's dismissed something as irrelevant, he wants everybody else to, put it that way.
Okay.
So it's very much familiar to you for that reason. That
that's he has drawn a line under that, and we're moving on. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think I may. Yeah, I think I'll leave that one there then.
You also know that Shakos wouldn't necessarily have been told about the previous op the Kivalari was on, because it wouldn't have been called the Kivalari at that point, right? It'd have been something else.
My one thing that I don't know if I should mention, I'll get some group input. Mentally, I am asking.
Yeah, brain calm them. Brain calm them.
That's out of character for him. I don't know. I don't know if I should push him. I don't know if I want to push my luck, but I don't know.
So can I just repeat for you, Colin? Like, I was going to say, it's not out of character in that way. Like, I was going to say, like, everything I told you was everything you did was in character.
Yes, but leaving...
I mean, you could ask him about that, right? Yeah.
An ID on a ship that is going undercover. Therefore, identifying it.
Yeah, no, fair. If that's what you mean by, like, a character, yeah. I stand back.
That's not the kind of mistake... Like, he doesn't really make mistakes to begin with.
I mean, his record definitely shows there are zero mistakes.
Yeah, he certainly doesn't make that kind of mistake. So, like, mentally, I'm thinking, yeah, this guy isn't sloppy. That was sloppy. Should I challenge?
Sloppy. Maybe it just get covered up all the time.
Or someone else.
It's when he takes Quint to a private room and then he shows them all the other like tanks full of other Quints, and he just shoots this one in the head.
I was a creator.
You know what? Fuck it, I'm going to say something.
Yeah,
Commander,
good man.
Are you aware of having lost an ID?
It was noted in the after-action log for that particular mission that the ID was misplaced. And again, that exact complete deadpan delivery with like zero muscle movement in his body besides like his, what you can't see is of his lips.
I will simply nod.
There is no return nod. There is just like complete passiveness, if that makes sense. In his
right. Let me see if I can remember how to do this. I don't know. I don't. I was going to say I don't know why I didn't do this aboard the ship. I do because I forget I have it all the time. I kind of want to try Glimpsing Truth.
Interesting. Go for it.
Um,
And talk everybody through
except
it.
it requires actually me sitting around for 10 minutes, so I can't do it now.
I mean,
Never mind.
if this is something you could have had going on for the conversation, right?
So,
Like, how much
because out of
can you multitask during it? Like, what's the?
it's so to read the text. Bear with me. At 11th level, your incredible insights help you move investigations forward where mundane inquiries fail. Once per day. Oh no, so this is a separate thing. Glimpse truth is just something I get. So glimpse truth works with. I can spend 1 resolve point to gain true seeing for 1 round within a 60 feet range. And true seeing is relevant here because basically it reveals hidden things and changed things. It would show if this was not Babak.
Okay,
Which
let
I'm
me have
not
a.
saying I think is the case.
Alright, so True Seeing. Let's have a look. So it's a level 6 Mystic Spell, or Technomancer Spell, Divination Touch, 1 minute per level. Will harm negates, is apparently harmless. It's got spell resistance, yes, harmless. You confer upon the target the ability to see all things within 120 feet as they actually are. The target sees through normal and magical darkness and notices secret doors hidden by magic. There you go, Nico, see? There you go, sorted.
Yeah.
Door puzzles. Sees the exact locations of creatures or objects that are invisible or displaced. Sees through illusions and sees the true form of changed or mutated beings. There you go. Further, the target can focus its vision to see into the ethereal plane, but not into extra-dimensional spaces, like someone's bangle. True Seeing, however, does not penetrate solid objects. There's no way to confer X-ray vision, or its equivalent. It does not negate concealment, including that caused by fog and the like. True Seeing does not help the viewer see through mundane disguises, so literally, 3 greys in a trench coat would defeat this. Spot creatures who are simply hiding or notice secret doors hidden by mundane means. So, yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, you could definitely spend the
resolve
yeah.
point in that.
I love it.
I'm not expecting to find anything. I just want to be sure
Now,
because of the weird mistake.
what does this look like? Because keep in mind, you have like
Okay.
red glowing eyes, you've got like black crackly energy, like kind of casually, right?
Sure, but this isn't a Borai thing. This is just a
Yeah, but I
very
want,
good
like-
detective thing.
Okay.
It comes from detective.
It's just weird that
It's
like
not-
obviously like from your operative side of things, you get a magic spell. So it's interesting.
Yeah, specialization exploit. It's specialization exploit is glimpse truth. By picking up on subtle clues and hidden traces in your immediate surroundings, you can see things as they really are. As a full action, you can spend 1 resolve point to gain the effects of true seeing for 1 round with a range of 60 feet.
Mhm.
So it is just looking carefully when I'm doing it.
Hmm.
So he wouldn't actually show that he's doing it.
Yeah, and I think because it would need to be somebody like insighting your behavior, right? Your subtle behavior to work out. Are you trying to work me out?
Yeah.
but-
Which I suppose you can roll for.
If it cared, right? Like, but yeah,
So
you can spend
I
your
don't
resolve.
actually have an ability put into my sheet for it, just because it's it's gain true sight basically.
Mhm.
So let me just make a note of it.
Yeah.
Sight for what is it? 6 seconds.
Isn't it like thingy per level?
1 round.
1 minute, sorry, per level.
Oh, 1 minute per level. Is it?
Yep, it's the duration.
That's a 10 rounds, mate. That's 10 whole rounds.
As a full
Time
action, you
level.
can spend 1 resolve to gain the true seeing for 1 round.
Okay, so 1 round. Okay, yours is specific, right? Okay, cool. So yeah, that's 6 seconds, I think, in Starfinder. I think it's still the same. Like, I don't know if
So-
that's actually written in Starfinder anywhere, but I think it is 6 seconds.
Okay, I will do that.
Okay, yep.
And squinting slightly, does
Yeah,
anything strike me as awry?
looks like Babak,
6 seconds.
but it definitely looks like Babak. Can you use your other couple of seconds to look at your teammates?
No.
No, don't look at me.
Um, I think with that, I think that's what I can do here and now.
Mhm.
so I'm not going to try and suss him out anymore.
Mhm.
I do find something a little weird about that. I'm probably thinking this
Mhm.
aloud to my colleagues with the link of Zig. But outwardly, I will only say, understandably, we were confounded and alarmed by what we discovered. We're not familiar with the weapon. Although you did inform me previously that these may have been Aspis contacts. Obviously, we haven't yet found any indication of who the buyer may have been.
He kind of nods at that. Says, yes, I have officers working on this as we speak. I have put trusted agents on this particular task to try and limit the exposure the Kivalari case has to the greater collective, as he just says, staring at you, Lyko, implying that he too may have suspicions. He then says, Deora, looking at you, Zora,
Yes.
and says, one moment, and then he presses a button on the table, and at the other side of the room from where you are, one of the opaque glass panels just like disappears, and in walks Matva.
Of course she does. I was expecting that shit.
And
I don't know
then
why. As soon as he spoke to me, I was like, "Man, as I walking here, I just had that line."
it's because 76 sessions, Nico.
That does if you like.
I don't have a clue.
So everybody else sees like a big burly vest person, and like we're talking much bulkier than Zora, right? Like much more, like looks like they could throw Zora across the room, and like the glass panel appears behind them and it goes opaque as well, and Matva speaks and says, Commander Babak here was gracious enough to allow me this meeting. And then looks at the crew and says, I see this is the crew you have fashioned for yourself, the Abyss.
Would nod. As Event Horizon.
Event Horizon, yep. Who's the Event Horizon, yep. Yeah.
Too many fucking stupid.
I dare you. Mm-hmm. So,
what brings you to this meeting?
and then she kind of turns to Babak and says, your search crew did not find the case. And then she turns back to you. Says, there was a Vesk safety case provided to the captain of the Kivalari for this weapon sample to be stored. It was not found aboard the Kivalari. We were curious.
Do we tell them?
Yeah, it's like we were curious as to its fate.
Right, so in mind speak, I must have trust them.
Captain, I think they know.
Right, I guess I'm just gonna have
They've been
to.
cooperating and we've been out of the loop.
Yeah, I put the case on board final hour for protection.
And then, like, Babak just looks at you and goes, protection from what exactly?
We were within Vesk and Yoxian and Triaxis space, getting good at hand. Like, and there was no guns on board the Kivalari, so.
They were offline at the time.
I see. It is not in any of the reports I received, however, unless we were getting to that. And he turns to Lyko when he says that.
You know what? I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play up the act. I'm gonna lean into people's impression of me and say, yes. Well, I may have suggested that, given the circumstances, we couldn't determine who or what may have been interested in obtaining the weapon. So we felt it was best to ensure, at the very least, it wasn't the first place it would be looking for.
And he like stands up straighter again and says, Miss Vrala Nellis, forgive my agent. Apparently the coincidental appearance of one of my ID tags aboard this ship has caused him to distrust me. And he turns back and like gives you just like a look. It's not nothing particularly sinister, more just like a knowing I would have done that too look, right? And then maybe there's a tiny bit of pride right in there. You know, when you've been told you've done a good job before. But it's hard to tell because he so rarely gives a shit about that shit, right?
I mean, if he's actually legit as well, it'd be a quality you would want your officers to just suspect anything.
But it's maybe why he's got that little look of like respect, right? And then yeah, and so he says that to almost like explain in a way to Matva. And there's just a kind of acknowledging kind of grunt from Matva. As she stands there, glorious in her, battle armor, and she looks at Zora and says, "We will talk," and that's it.
I mean, I've kind of want to talk here. I mean, most of what is said isn't hidden from my crew anyway, so.
Then you can brief them when our talk concludes.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I would nod.
And then she kind of turns like slightly to Babak and says, "Commander, if I am required again, I am at your disposal until I depart. Thank you again for this opportunity." And then he just kind of nods kind of respectfully, and that doesn't say anything. And Matva takes a step back, so that she isn't blocking that kind of glass panel that vanished before. It just leads off into another corridor, and then gestures for you to go through it, Zora.
Full. Commander. Give a nod.
Yep, and he kind of nods and says, "Dora."
And full. Two fingered to like everybody else.
Yep, and I think you can tell as well, like, he isn't saying Dora to be disrespectful since he called her Vrala Nellis, right? Like, he just respects the fact that that's a Vesk custom, right?
He calls Lyko Quint all the time,
Mhm.
so
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a second name basis type lad.
Yeah, that's him. And then that panel closes and like goes opaque again. I'm there now off camera. Like Babak turns to the three of you and says, "Any other suspicions then, Quint?"
You mean to say anything I would be more comfortable saying with the captain of the room?
He just stares blankly.
Yeah. It would be fair to say that there was some suspicion of Vesk involvement immediately, and that this was considerably enhanced by the discovery that there had been a Vesk presence aboard the vessel.
You
The captain's protestations that it's not Vesk methods, while true, it would be equally true to say that it isn't
I think the
assassin
captain
or
has
it
said that
isn't
it's
human.
quite Literally, map has probable methods.
Yeah, map. I'm with that specific dev, but
Definitely didn't rule out the fact that
I think that while while generally Vesk methods would shy away from such a weapon, well, the involvement of the event horizon, I believe, is the correct title.
He like nods like once to kind of like affirm.
It does suggest to me that it's not a possibility I would rule out.
Our analysts have surmised this, and then he like uses his datapad and brings it up on the holographic table, and it's like the the captain's log entries that then he hits the button that translates them back into Vesk, so you recognise him when he says the structure and syntax the Vesk dialect is formed of is in fact code. And then like it all highlights specific symbols and whatnot.
Okay.
It says this specific sequence was in fact detailed to myself and several other high-ranking steward officials by the Vesk attaché assigned to us after the Absalom disaster. Do you understand what this implies?
I don't. To be honest with you, out of character, I'm not quite sure. Just Lyco.
And roll insight. We'll find out.
Roll insight.
Yeah, why not? And it's sense motive, obviously. Let's face it.
Sensible. It's the lowest I can roll, so probably not.
And yeah, maybe it is a wee bit obscure. And he says, when my analysts were able to confirm this code being present, my suspicions of the event horizon, as you put it, were laid to rest. This was an acknowledgement of their presence aboard.
Okay. I see where you're coming from.
Given the Vesk political tensions, both within our own system and within the Viscarium itself, this level of interference is best kept out of the public eye.
There is, of course, the possibility that it comes from quite a different faction of Vesk.
He raises an eyebrow. I'm not even sure if Kasathans have eyebrows, but he raises one anyway.
It occurs to me that the result of the weapon, which is to say, in most cases, it seems to be animated corpses, while being seemingly some sort of biological or at least non-magical, he shakes his head a little, saying that form of being, they are still I'm forgetting the word I'm trying to use. They're still susceptible, that's it, susceptible to some of the same forces which would be able to control and direct more traditional undead. To put it more directly, Commander, any being capable of remotely controlling large groups of undead would find this weapon an extremely useful way to create them without leaving the traditional traces of necromancy.
I see your point, Quint. How curious a weapon this would be in the hands of certain new allies to the Viscarium.
Has there been any indication that either party was aware of the surveillance?
If we are to ignore the Event Horizon's timely rescue, there is nothing that has indicated either the bone sage known as Tectolanus or the Vesk have any direct involvement with the Scivolari incident beyond the noted and timely intervention by the Obsidian starship.
That being the case,
He then puts one of his hands up and then says, I am also aware that you currently reside in an Obsidian starship. He just looks at you, and it's got all the suspicion you can imagine attached to the look.
that is accurate.
I fear that perhaps me assigning you this task has led to their potential direct involvement in this affair.
You believe that the ship is bugged?
And he just stares at you blankly. Says, my beliefs are irrelevant to the facts and the evidence in this particular matter. Diplomatically speaking, this could be important to get correct.
A possibility I would be considering. It's also a possibility I would be considering if it weren't myself that were aboard that ship, that the crew could be involved with Vesk in some clandestine affair.
None of the crew members rescued seem to be infected, from what we can tell. If you have any additional expertise to provide my medical staff, please do so swiftly, and we will re-examine the survivors.
When I say crew, Commander, I was actually referring to our crew, which is to say,
He
I
kind of
understand that if there's, sorry,
He just nods as you say that.
I understand if there is some suspicion in your part, given given the captain's previous roles.
My suspicion does not lie with the Abyss. He, states that as flatly as he can.
Okay, right.
My suspicions are unfounded as of yet. I am gathering evidence on this particular matter, and anything you uncover along your unrelated duties would be appreciated, Deputy Quint.
Is there a possibility of us being able to speak with any of the crew?
He says, some regain consciousness, but unfortunately they are... And he kind of there's a look that's in his eyes, and it's, mild concern, I guess, is the closest approximation for what you can tell, since obviously his mouth's always covered. And he says, that can be arranged. As if he just shakes off that moment of almost sentimentality, and then says that can be arranged if required. What do you... If that is the case, then it will be arranged. And he looks at Zig and Weird, kind of nods to them both and says, anything else that is important to share now, Quint, or do you wish to speak alone?
Commander, I believe I have shared, and if I haven't mentioned anything, I should mention. Please let me know. But
Okay, anybody else in the party think he's missed anything that's important? I'm not saying he has, I'm just saying, do you think so?
As he's walking with Matt Vi, he's like, maybe you want to warn him about the goop and the airlock.
He did. Yeah, he covered that.
I don't know, it's that cool good stuff.
Be loose in the airlock.
Yeah,
Cool,
he's
good
he's
stuff,
he's covered that. Don't worry.
Good-
Even Babak's already updated the search team on his pad during that conversation already, so they're fully aware.
Good.
Weird
Okay.
or Zig? Anything you think he's missed?
They need to be worried about the non-bomb.
Right, it's a non-bomb, so no. Ultimately,
No.
Yeah, it's not bomb.
It may be worth you mentioning that there are some things, though, Alex.
It might be.
well,
It's not conclusive.
well, if like that moment of silence exists, then Babak says, if you can provide the coordinates to the weapons case, we will assign staff to recover this also.
The problem is the weapons case is Steve Road failed.
I know.
So there's just,
I know.
Um,
Don't worry about it, you're not even in the room. Don't worry about it, that's their problem.
So, what do we tell
I
them?
am braining Captain right now. I think it'd just say something like, Canister is on the final hour.
it's the Azov.
So- You actually can't
And
reach
I
the
know
captain.
it's not.
You can't reach the captain.
There's psychic blocking windows.
Shit.
It's gonna be a pretty shit
I
meeting
will
room.
convey this to everyone else in the
Do
room
we
mentally
know-
as well.
Do we know that? Do I know that?
I will just say that to you in brain language.
So we know.
We can't reach the captain, by the way.
Do we know that it isn't? Though we know where it currently is.
I
Yeah,
think I know.
I was gonna
it's
say,
not.
I think everybody should know where the case was, because the case was put on the Azure Flare and sent ahead, remember?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's fair.
Zig was on that ship.
And I was on it. So
Yes.
Okay, in that case,
Like, currently you've
I
left Thanida, and I think Query and Isabel with the
I-
massive
in that
biological weapon.
to Zig. Allowed. This is Zig. I believe you have the gesturing to indicate to send your show. Show coordinates to.
I can arrange for it to be shuttled over. That's easier.
I think Babak just looks from Zig up to Lyko, and just looks at you, Lyko.
I believe it may be in a vessel other than.
Psychically face down.
And he goes, I see. And
It's a civilian vessel.
I think you actually just hear a sigh. You just hear him sigh under his mask.
You'll find it is adequately guarded.
Harsh cut, to them. Thanida probably leaning over the captain's chair with a bag of, crisps.
And Isabel here,
Mhm.
to say, including by the former S-Kate Isabel Furler, as it happens.
So you've recruited a former banker to assist in this. You just-
Recruited is, I don't know if it's the word the captain would use. It's not the word I would use.
co-opted then.
Co-opted. Yeah.
You can definitely tell there's a bit of a tone to Babak's voice now, because he feels like you have misled him and lied, especially in front of a fairly important other Space Empire official, I guess. So So maybe that look of pride was premature. And he says, provide the coordinates to this civilian vessel, and we shall recover this case. Is there anything else I need to know about the recovery of this case?
I mean, where's the other one that we took away?
He left it
I
in
thought it
the...
was the case that was on the Cavallari, and I thought
Nope,
it was
you
just the
just-
extra canister that was
So
on there,
there's
so-
the case had 2 canisters in it. You just took one out and left it in the Kivallari cargo bay, and the other sample, the third broken sample, you packaged was in the airlock, and then you just put
Oh, okay.
the case onto the
So with the one in the Azure Flare, that would be the entirety of it.
Yep, that'd be the whole weapon. Yeah. So
I'll look to others and say, I don't believe so.
then, please provide these coordinates.
Yes, I'd try and get the coordinates.
Shouldn't be too hard.
So yeah, you can send them over where the
Send them a wee message.
where the ship is
Um,
docked. And you see him tap away on his data pad. And then say, if there is anything else that comes to mind, please inform me as soon as you can. I have arranged for accommodation to be provided for you and your crew while you will remain on board as I complete the search of the Kivallari. Shakos is being debriefed now, but again, I am aware of your familiarity. If you wish to convene with her and or the crew of the Kivallari, this can be arranged also.
Thank you. I was going to say Captain. Thank you, Commander.
Again, nods. He nods to Weird and Second goes, thank you for your service to the stewards. And then
Likewise.
I did it for the money.
He's
And
like, we
then-
kind of half nod him by.
the the door, the glass panel vanishes, and the windows stop being opaque, and you're kind of motioned out as the officer outside stands to attention. So clearly, your attaché to lead you places around the ship. And as you go in, he says,
Um,
"You will find your request, Quint, in these accommodations." And then the glass panel just seals him back in the room.
Can I send a message to Isabel, just saying exactly what's about to happen? There's
Probably
coming
not
to
from your
pick up.
personal comm, no.
Okay.
If you've got something that can reach Isabel, sure. But how would you get that message to her?
Smoke signals.
In space. If you think of a way, you can let me know. But until
Yeah,
then,
that's fine.
I don't think so. Because your
Oh,
comms
no, we'll just
obviously,
have to deal with it.
yeah, your comms are walkie-talkies essentially, right? Until you connect up to a network, right?
Mm.
And then you can use a planet's network to get the equivalent of a mobile phone level of coverage. But yeah, they are not so good. It's ship-to-ship comms you have been using before. These are currently in the Calm Before the Storm, but you could ask at some point, your
I
attaché,
think
right?
Yeah, I'll just ask him. It was like, is it possible I could send a personal message, just to say that I will have to cancel some meetings for my unexpected stay.
When you are shown to your accommodation, there will be a console inside you may use for any communications. You may flag said communications for different levels of privacy if required, but note that all communications will be screened.
I think I'll think to Weird. Is there a way to bypass the screening, or are we?
Always. Just a matter of how much you want to risk.
It's just that scene from is it the Holy Grail, where it's the princess writing on the arrow really subtly and then just firing out the window. 2 guards just nodding and smiling. Yep. But yeah, you're shown off to accommodation. It's some many floors away from where that meeting room was. It's the equivalent of like a fairly big, almost like an ambassador suite that you have. These are shown inside and informed that there will be a steward outside at all times if anything is required, but ideally you'll be kept here until the officers are ready for being seen in the med bay. But it's essentially it's the equivalent of like a suite with a double bed, right? It's the equivalent of, as I said, it's like where you would keep some kind of diplomat if they were travelling on board. But you aren't assigned a room each or anything, because you could probably imply from that you aren't expected to be staying long. Given, right? Since you haven't been given individual rooms. But we harsh cut all the way over to Zora. And yeah, you're led through, not even particularly far away from the previous room, but it's clearly like a private office that has been assigned to Matva, it seems. And as you get inside, the room seals, and Matva just like stops, turns round, and just stares, like come to the close in front of you, and then just bear hugs you, really, really tightly.
Lovely.
And just grips and just says, "I am pleased that you have survived the recent ordeals, I am told. The Abyss. This pleases me." And then double punches like your shoulders as the good old Vesk salutes. That probably does, yeah, like it probably does knock you back at least an inch if you're trying to resist. You know what I mean? So, yeah, they just stand there, kind of like big Vesk grin on their face, and they say, "Tell me of what you have learned of our enemy, Dumogesh." And we take our break there. So we will be back in 10 minutes. We will be back. So see you all soon, folks. Okay, so welcome back to part 2 of, or I guess just welcome to part 2, because there's no welcome back to part 2, right? So welcome back to Starfinder.
Back to the welcome.
Yes, back to the welcome. Part 2, session 76, Starfinder, players, here they are.
Hi. Oh, Zora, this captain.
Hello. I, Colin, and I will be playing Lyco Quinn, your resident sneaky, spooky, altogether,
Cookie.
just top lad.
What up? It's your boy, Alex.
How's
Today,
it going, my boy?
I will be playing Weird, the android president-elect.
Wow.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Just cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
hello, Mr. President-elect.
Thank you.
America is back.
Who's back? Back again. Callum's back. Hello, it's me. Hello.
Eating more popcorn, might I add.
I am a man who, first of all, is aware he is going to be full of regret, and still goes ahead with his poor decisions.
He's actually
Speaking of poor
staying.
decisions, I'll be playing as Zig, the Burning Sun, the mystical space rat who grew up in a temple near the sun. Way back, he was left there because reasons, and
Did his
he
parents not
became a
love him?
solar monk at the monastery of our
What
burning
damn
order.
assholes.
No, he was left because they could sense he was a central character.
They could sense
I
it
was
actually
left
a
there
flop.
because of plot. Let's face it.
They looked into his future and saw only radiation.
They're like, our son, he's a
Secretly, you're
protagonist.
actually Zig's son.
He was born with
They
green
knew
speckled
their
hair.
only choice was to give him up or
Mhm.
to die tragically.
And
Um,
sadly
so
both.
yeah, and then
They took a wrong turn out of the sun model.
Yeah.
eventually it was thrown in with a crew of a mismatched crew of
It's just a personal Zig story so far, yeah, like, okay.
and we went on wild wacky adventures,
Mhm.
which eventually brought us up to session 1.
Now, session 2. Whew, let me tell you about
There's lots of dark corridors, man.
that. There were. We
No.
turned down the fucking dungeon.
Nobody knows where their torch app is in the dark, you know?
My phone, who dis?
Yep, exactly.
In the dark, no one knows where your torch are.
One of my favourite moments of this entire game, maybe, in fact, is that moment just everybody being like, can anyone see the dark? No, no, no. Third session. Everybody, yes, yes. The whole time. Great. Gotta love it.
It happens.
But yeah. Right, so Zig. Got
Yes.
quite done with
Oh, do you
your.
want me to continue?
I mean, that was only like your one session, really, and
Mate, it's another fucking 70 odd to go, man. Better quick go, keep it going.
75 and a half.
can right? Can you do it like ideally less than 1 word per session?
That's a good idea, aye.
Madness,
Okay, right,
madness,
hold on. Where's
madness,
the?
madness.
Can
Okay.
you sum it up in one word?
Dragons probably
Noodles.
somewhere.
Okay, so question 1.
Radiation.
Regret.
Door.
Hmm.
Goo. 3, I wasn't there anyway. 4, technically I wasn't there. Pressure. Wormhole. Edgar. Shopping. Home. Doctors. I'm gonna read it out. Telepathy. Anyway,
Mhm.
sorry.
You
You
good?
may continue
I
with your story.
I would say some body.
Once.
One.
Never.
That's all you need to say. Is
Yeah.
You just need the pause between some and body, and people do it for themselves.
Yep. So anyway, yes, this is part 2. I am Brian, the GM. It's the 9th of November 2020 still, and let's get started. So, we're in a room with 2 Vesk.
And one says to the other,
Haga.
Yep, and there we are.
Uh,
Never DM kids, not even once.
Right, so I guess in reaction to her question, well, I did actually just have a wee talk with Divination recently. Just with it trying to just show up a hologram in my ship. It'd be nice to know how we did that.
Like Matva just like stands back from me and sits in, the comedically small chair, and gestures to the one across the desk.
And he told me an interesting story.
All about how
His life got turned upside down.
down. Oh no.
The fresh Vesk of Bel Air. Yeah.
I had to get that out, right? Because it was in my head. It was.
Well, here we are. So yeah, Matva gestures to the seat across the room from her.
Yeah, I'll sit. He's a civilized Vesk, like sitting as a storm brooding all the time. Yeah, what did I just say last actually? Oh yeah, that's just a story. What about an apparent promotion and maybe a certain left hand preventing it from happening?
Kind of nods slowly. An interesting tale this Demogesh was able to spin. And you say this timing? When was this meeting?
I would snigger. I would like, of course, I know the timing was perfect, but I mean,
She waves her hands together to the side and goes, "I'm unaware of the timing of this meeting. It is why I asked."
very recently, like, must have been. How long did it take us? Oh yeah, like just over a week ago.
Kind of nods and says, "Before or after the Kivalari incident?" And then we lost Nico.
Oh, amongst. I don't even know how my big switch got me to. That's what I said.
So you said like during or amongst?
Yeah.
Because I would say that's convenient.
Very. But politics aside, we really haven't learned much besides about his possible intentions with the Yorksians.
And what are these intentions with the Oxians that you have learned of?
Simply to use them as a use the term lately, meat shield.
Yes, a very thin term, I would posit. She just looks at you.
And swoop in and the glory.
Her eyes narrow, and she kind of leans back in the chair she's in. It creaks, and she says, "The surveillance has you on Akaton."
What? Sorry?
And she says, "The surveillance has you on Akaton," is what she said as she's leaned back.
Yeah, we just arrived here recently.
No. Before that.
Oh, before the Kivalari?
Kinda nods.
Yeah, that was to follow up on, well, essentially get equipped to take on Demogesh, or possibly follow up on a method of weakening his position.
I see. Was it fruitful?
They're now armed and ready to roll.
And this weakness you were able to exploit? Care to share this?
Trust between his alliance between him and the Eoxians.
I see. Is this why you were meeting with an Eoxian crashed vessel?
She knows everything. I fucking hate Black Ops, man.
She knows everything because of our fucking vessel.
Yeah, I mean, but damn ghosts, goblins. I tell you, goblins.
Ghosts,
Yeah.
goblins, fiends, gremlins, yeah.
Yeah.
Alice, you know.
Yeah.
Phoning every contact in the ship's memory bank. Hello, have you found our crew? Hello.
I guess I would nod.
And she leans forward, you know, like elbows on her knees, and just kind of like has her chin resting on like her arms as they're like kind of pitted, and she just stares across the room at you. And she says, "Is the gap between where you stand and where I stand so great these days?"
Let's say that again. Sorry. Wait, what?
Is the gap
the
between
gap?
where you stand and where I stand so great these days?
I wouldn't quite say that. What a ship's captain.
Like, you know, she kind of smiles and says, "You trusted me once. I fear you don't trust me anymore."
Wouldn't trust anybody.
This is true. Don't trust anybody. I don't trust her.
It's like, down to what? Anyway,
It's just. I mean, she's definitely a better choice for Divination purely because she doesn't want to start an immediate war, but she'll start a war, right? I mean, it's going to happen. What to say to that? I mean,
I think the implication here is that she's definitely feeling like you no longer trust her, right? That's definitely the vibe there. Like, you know, is there such a gap between the two of us these days, you know? Given that you were kind of cagey about telling her information that she was confirming, right?
just can't deny the convenience of possibly me off in Demigesh not helping out you as well. That's all I'm saying.
I think you would be hard pressed to find a living soul that would not benefit from Demogesh's demise in this system currently.
Snigger at that. You're not wrong.
I include you in this also. Or a right hand would need to be found in the interim if Demogesh was removed.
Interesting.
And he leans back again and goes, "And as you are well aware that the Imperatrix would not allow the left hand to serve as the right."
Good nod. But as you also know, I left the Scarium to give my own place.
She just starts laughing, right? Just laughs, like, kind of vaguely to the notion of the phrase leaving the Viscarium. And she goes, "I think we are."
You're never out, boy.
It's like, I think we both are aware that you will remain Vesk for the rest of your days.
I mean,
This could till the end.
It's just the phrasing remain
Mhm.
best.
Mhm.
Oh.
perhaps in the eyes of everyone else.
And then, our kind of laughter stymies, and she kind of like looks a bit more serious again. Says, "And what exactly can I do to bridge this gap, Captain?"
assure you just won't take the place of Demagesh as soon as he's gone, and that you're not just going to start a pointless war with the Pact World? A hubris?
She laughs and she says, "You think so little of me."
Nah, I'm not saying.
Yeah,
I'll
and
get
then
snarky.
yeah, and like as there's a bit of silence to that, she'll then say, "The Imperatrix leads the Vesk in this system, as well as in the Viscarium. Dimulgesh seems to have forgotten how short his reach truly is. My personal goals in this system are to maintain his limitations imposed on him by the Imperatrix. This is the Vesk way." And as Stephen definitely says, it is 100% not a trap. How dare you imply such a thing?
Is not a trap. I mean, everything's a trap. Everything is a trap. Life is a trap. Death's a trap.
You,
Trap's a trap.
a veritable roller coaster of love.
Yeah.
So yeah, she says that to you, and then she says, "The Obsidian Star maintains the Vesk principles, regardless of people and their differing opinions from the Viscarium. The Order was founded on this belief, and it will be maintained on this belief. Dimulgesh would disband the Obsidian Star if he had the authority."
God. I assume you have no information about what happened on board the Kivalari. Obsidian Star just showing up was also very convenient.
We were in the area. She just stares at you.
Anything about the weapon.
This unknown bioweapon? No. I felt it best in the interest of ongoing diplomatic interests that it was best left on board. I left a marker, very overtly, within the captain's log itself, to indicate to the stewards that we had rendered assistance if anything happened to our vessel before we could get the crew to a steward facility.
Is that why the logs were in Vesk?
And nods once.
It's convenient, isn't it?
It's a bit, right? Like, yeah, but then at the same time, maybe that's why she did it. Because it's convenient, right?
I guess. You don't know if Demagesh has got any involvement.
She kind of just looks at you and rolls her eyes towards you, and obviously we hear them scream. And she then says, "I would never implicate Dimulgesh in anything I could not prove. And it seems like you have yet to provide me the proof for me to implicate him.
Mostly just speculation.
But considering his allegiances with this Bone Sage,
It's one of the speculations.
you say that he is calming you when you're on a secret steward rescue mission, and this is just after you had rendezvoused with a bone sage contact of your own. You can imagine my suspicions on my former star pupil.
You can rest assured that I'm definitely not going to have any allegiance to Magesh.
And look at that. The gap shortens.
Guess we'd snag it at that, but
Mm-hmm. She kind of just stares for a wee bit as well, so yeah, feel free to.
anything else specific that you wanted to speak about in private?
Stares for like an hour, like 15
I've
seconds
given
with
you
it.
my whole story.
Indeed, you have. The Abyss. If that is everything you have to report, I have no further need of this social encounter.
Social encounter, yes.
Two friends
Pleasant
catching up, of course.
Yes. No business at all.
What business would, a former Obsidian Star agent have with the current leader of the Obsidian Star? She laughs, kind of once to herself.
Snigger. Well, if that's all.
Kind of like vaguely gestures towards the door from her chair.
I'll give her a nod and a salute.
Yeah.
A smack in the shoulders.
She stands up, obviously. You hit her in the shoulders, and then she
Launches me through the door with hers.
says, "Allow me to see you to your crew." And then, he's can just navigate the corridors, and then anything you want to say as you wander through the ship and awkward stewards keep out of your way as two broad Vesk walk down the corridor. That probably takes up a lot of the said corridor, quite frankly.
I guess I would just say invest. How is a Viscarium these days anyway?
I think like there's almost a kind of nostalgic tone as a reply, which is, I am so rarely able to return my duties in the pact system. Have my attention, unfortunately. If I get the opportunity to return, I will let you know. Perhaps you should return yourself to remind of what you're missing.
Maybe one day.
She says some kind of, almost like proverb in a Vesk to you, which loosely translates to, things you leave for tomorrow may die on today's battlefield, right? Yeah, it basically means don't leave things that you should do sooner.
Take over the world.
Yeah, like basically, fight everything you want to fight today, because tomorrow it might already be dead. So there's no glory in that. So yeah, you do that, and then obviously you're led up to the relatively nervous-looking steward officer outside the suite the rest of the crew have, and then she just says, "Door," to the guy. Opens the door, and she just salutes you again. Big fists to the shoulders. This guy's just in between the camera shot, as he's probably just short enough to be underneath where all the fists hit each other. And
It probably thinks he's been assaulted at first.
and then you part ways, and she just walks back down the corridor the way she came. And you head into the room with your crew. So yous are all reunited. Lucky yous.
And it feels so
So good. We really need to get the final hour checked for bugs. I'd ask Alice. Shakes fist. Upset.
Oh, Alice. Want me to find
I
out other
mean,
me's?
Ask
To...
Alice to
Yep.
Would you say go ask Alice?
Alice?
Um,
Alice?
are we then in our chambers?
Oh dear. These are all in the Ambassador role suite, yeah.
Lovely.
And yes, fucking transponders everywhere. Yep.
Can I find the thing that was left for me?
Yeah, so maybe at this point you go into the bedroom. The kind of like privacy lock is there, which just means when you first press the button, it just says occupied. And then,
Okay, like a toilet. Yep.
but really it just means if you press it again, this door will open and people may be, in bed. You press it again and you swoosh it open, and you're greeted with a friendly wobble.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes.
I look at it for a
Ivan.
second and say,
It's eaten a quarter of the bed.
guys, the ooze is here.
Run over.
Yes, I'd like to go check on Ivan.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, good.
stand on the other side of the
Ivan.
room.
Yep.
Still eating.
Yep.
Well, we got what we asked for.
Everything seems.
Was your
as-
conversation enlightening?
Not really. Just usual. I give all the information and get nothing in return. Okay. One of those ones.
I know it. Yeah.
She assures me that she is not Devagesh. Yeah.
One way or the other, though. These guys are Viscarium through and through, Captain.
Yeah. Not wrong.
However much difference they might have personally, when it comes down to it, I make some sort of gesture, of like, you get what I'm getting at.
Yeah. This is somebody else making the calls. He rubs his mystical lizard beard.
Is this like your new Solarian summon? Is that what it is? You just summon a glorious Solarian beard. +1 to wisdom, yeah. I am into it. Keep in mind, Zig, you've also got to make that call at some point.
Oh yeah, I'll do that now. Actually,
You got a beard? Tell me you've got a beard.
Zig?
That'd be amazing. Hilarious.
Zig's got whiskers and
Fantastic.
stuff, right?
no one's
Yeah.
noticed.
Yeah. He's got one of those little kind of, teenage goatees going on.
Yeah.
He's seen shit. You know that now. The goatee says it. But yeah. So yeah, as I said, like in the Ambassador Role Suite, there is like a, communications console off to like one side near like, I don't know, there's probably a desk that just like slides out of the wall, facilitates this.
Yep. You would just go over to it and just boop that beep.
Yep.
And I think, there's no real point in trying to hide it. Gonna get screened. And if we break it, something bad will happen, I'm pretty sure. So I think you'll just say, don't panic. The stewards are going to go over to pick up the weapons case.
Don't panic's the best first message to receive, by the way, in anything, right?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Tag
that's
urgent.
very good.
You know, it's got like an upside down exclamation mark and such. You know, just for
Yeah.
extra emphasis.
Everything is fine. Do not worry. We are
Right.
fine.
So here's a small
We are in
tangent.
no need of rescue or anything like that.
Small tangent. I remember long ago when me and Kenny were out drinking one evening, and perhaps the intoxication had won said evening. It was the first time I was ever a little too drunk to be the sensible one of the two of us, and we ended up in some random place I'd never heard of that sounded like it was made up. At like 4 in the morning, and the person we were with just started crying because none of it made sense, and I was so drunk that I was kind of unable to have got us home to my house, which was the plan for the three of us at the time. So with this additional person crying, Kenny apparently on the ball, right? Everything's sorted. He's also wrecked, by the way. And I just hand him my phone, and I just, because it's ringing, and I can't deal with it because I'm too gone by this point. So I hand him my phone. It was my mother, because she was expecting us back by a certain time and woke up and we weren't back, so obviously naturally was worried. And Kenny's like, "Don't worry, Ryan's fine." That's how he started it. And as far as he and my mother recanted after that, the conversation was very brief, where it was just her saying, "What do you mean Ryan's fine? Phone a taxi now, get here now." And that was it. That was the solution to the problem Kenny had failed to solve, where Kenny had put us all on a bus. We ended up in, I think it was called Moody'sburn. And I remember going to someone's house and trying to negotiate entry into said house. Why? I don't know. But oh man, that's so weirdly. That's what that reminds me of. Don't ask me why, but that's what came to my head there, and it's why I've never let him take command of a night out ever, because
It's funny, man.
that happens.
I have a significantly more sober story.
Right.
It was a similar "don't worry" thing. I did this big charity bike ride thing when I was a teenager, or something, and got to. I had we were wonderfully doing it late October, early November. Best time for a day-long bike ride. At some point, I hit a patch of black ice on the road
Oof.
and went sideways and took a chunk out my leg, which I managed to bandage up and finish the bike ride. But afterwards, you kind of look down. It's like, wow, that's bled all the way through and hasn't stopped. So I just text my mum after the 7 hours of it was cycling.
Mhm.
Like, finished the ride. I'm on the way to the hospital now. Everything's fine. And then my phone died.
Excellent.
Yeah. Didn't hear from me for the next few hours.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's those perfectly timed moments, right, where it's like, here's some vague details about something possibly traumatic, but don't worry, and no more communication. I'm like, okay, cool, perfect. Right. So Zig, what else are we doing? Right, so we're doing don't panic. The stewards are on their
Don't
way
panic.
to get.
Stewards are on their way to pick up the weapons crate.
Okay. Perfect. Anything else? Any other details? No.
Ivan is okay too.
Okay. Perfect. Love how you're saying this to
Little
a
mouse
ship with
emoji.
3 people that have no idea who Ivan is.
Yep, that's going to mean absolutely nothing, but that's okay.
Fantastic. But yeah, so you send off that message and it asks you to select the priority level it has, and that also dictates the privacy level. So what do you tag this as?
I mean, private-ish.
Okay.
Yeah, private.
So was it
not like-
confidential, non-consumer? Is that the option then? Yeah. Oh dear.
Not safe for work.
Oh dear. Don't do this to me, Stephen, by the way, in chat. Less of this.
Miss Steven.
I don't need that level of guilt. Oof.
Oh, but yeah, it'll like little like maybe not even an emoji, just like like lines that would make it look like a mouse at the end.
Yeah, cool. Yep. So you text craft a mouse out of it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Right. So, you send it off, and what do you do? What's the plan? Like, is there in this fancy ambassadorial suite with a quarter-eaten bed and
I'm
Ivan?
I'm busy just fucking about with Ivan, like just feeding him nuts and bolts. Like,
Yeah.
drop them in. Like.
Peanuts and bolts.
Yeah, it wobbles. So yeah, contently, I guess. Yeah.
They can spit us out 20 grenades and we can make a bomb.
I mean, maybe. Mm-hmm.
Spat a grenade at me before.
Yes, indeed, it was glorious. Oh dear.
I suppose I'll sort of just be lounging, resting, but I mentally will, say aloud to all that might want to listen that are in our little loop. So it sounds like maybe our ship isn't as secure as we thought. From what Babak said, I think he suspects not the Kefalari, sorry, the final hour. The final hour is being monitored directly by the vessel.
I've had suspicion for a while. I asked Alice to take care of it. I don't think she managed to do it properly because they knew we were on Akaton. I think. Did she do it before Akaton? I can't. She did do it before Akaton, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'd asked her to do it while we were on the Kevallari getting checked. So,
Yeah.
I guess she didn't catch all the bugs. If
Although
any.
I actually thought that you were referring to the time previously we'd been in Akaton, which would
No, I mean recently.
right, okay.
Because they also
Just
knew we
because
were back on
what did she not say about meeting with Bone
Although, wait,
Safe, which we
actually, I
haven't
don't
done
know.
yet?
But I don't
Um,
know if they have actually. Maybe the bugs are all fixed actually, because I don't know actually. It was me that actually kind of fessed up that we were in. I guess she knows when
No,
we're
she. I mean,
we're
yeah,
on Akaton right now. You know?
she knew that you've been Akaton previously, which I think was before the bug discussion because that was quite recent.
So, like that, I guess I'll say I asked Alice to deal with it, and hopefully she might have now, but we might want to double check to get back.
I think that would be best.
So, don't actually have any evidence that we haven't wiped them now.
So-
I forgot it was me that got confused with the first part when she said Akaton.
Having that in mind, do we wonder if maybe they were able to find the Kivallari because they were monitoring us?
Did you mean the Vesk? Sorry.
Yeah.
They got there before us.
Sure, but
I mean,
they were in the area.
I was going to say that also their ships could just be faster.
Yeah.
Was that the Obsidian Star having a faster ship? You say? Never.
Yeah. If they
Well, I guess if the tracking is fully, we know what destination, I guess.
I mean they wouldn't even necessarily have needed to wait for us to put in a destination. They may have been listening to our conversation. Who knows what? I think we should be very careful what we say on the ship.
I would
Might
not.
even be able to use it to our advantage.
Would rather just get rid of them.
There's a intercom noise at the door. Thank you.
And it's not. Press the button.
And it's basically the indication of that there's somebody outside.
Enter.
Yeah,
That's
And
how the doors.
of course,
open, you know,
yes.
big.
I like the idea that the Vesk, because of the Vesk accent, they need to do bullshit like, when you're trying to speak, like, when you're trying to like speak to an Alexa or something, right? It's, you have to put on your finest accent.
Scotland!
11.
11.
11.
Anyway, and also just so as Google Home doesn't feel left out. Google Home, and also then Alexa, and then Echo. Thank you. There we go. I've covered the potentially activating other people's stuff nonsense. So anyway, the door swishes open, and it's like a kind of almost. It looks a bit like a bridge officer uniform that this person's wearing. They're not in armor or anything. It's woman maybe about 30 to 40, and she kind of like looks up that extra foot towards Zora's face, and then says, "Quint," and just looks at you quizzically, Zora.
Nope, that would be me.
Yes.
And she's like,
I would step aside.
and then she looks at you and kind of raises an eyebrow. And this is, if I was going to cast someone, it would be Okoye from Black Panther. So see, like the badass Dora Milaje actress. So I will Okoye, if I can remember how to spell Okoye's name.
Thus answering my question from many sessions ago.
Of course,
Do you remember my question?
I do not, but I am pleased I got that. So
Oh, it's love.
No, it was. Do they have African Americans in space?
oh, okay, there we go. So yeah, so
Voila.
there is the GIF of her in our chat, at least. So
Alright, I know who that is.
Yeah.
She's appeared in some of the other stuff.
she's
hasn't
she actually is a great actress, yeah. And yeah, so it's her like in a kind of like bridge officer uniform. You can probably tell that she's probably pretty high up in the ship's crew just from the way she carries herself. Never mind anything else. And she just gives you probably a similar look, Zora, as she walks past into the room, and then says, "Yes, I'm looking for you, Quint.
And you have found me.
Yes, and aren't we all the better for this? Follow me, please." And she turns
Wow.
round and walks out.
Wow.
Mentally, I would say. Back soon, I guess.
Have fun. Mentally, that's what I would say. Cackle.
Tackles and
Just like that he says this. Have fun mentally.
Okay, yeah, so I'm following her out.
Yeah, and
Could
she's
we
Mhm.
send like maybe not constant, but like occasional like back and forths to check to see where like what kind of where if they're taking you away to a place where we can't talk to you like they did with the captain.
Yeah, just
Marco.
pings, basically.
Yeah.
Yep. Hello.
Michael, follow.
I think I'm gonna mentally say, please stop this.
Yeah, because like as you like say, please stop this. Then like the audio levels resync, and you hear her talking as she's been talking the entire time you've been walking up the corridor, and you've obviously heard like none of it. And it's like her just listing a bunch of stuff about like it sounds like your service and the stewards, and then she goes, "I'm sorry, am I boring you?"
Apologies, my mind is elsewhere today. I sort of look around to her, just as I say that. Just look with my eyes, barely turn my head. Just
And then like she stops and like holds her data pad like close to her chest, and she kind of like turns to like fully stand facing you, and she says,
I do the same.
"Is it true how grim the results were on the Kivalari?"
I suppose the answer depends entirely what you've heard, but I would be inclined to say the answer is yeah.
She moves her
It's-
like data pad away when you say that. When you say, it depends on what you've heard, and you see her like rank kind of patch, and it shows that she's the intel officer in charge of the
Right,
ship.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. Like, so she was basically maybe 2 or 3, like maybe 3 tiers at the most down from Babak, which
Yeah,
means
so
the person above her on the ship would be the captain. Yeah.
so I would just continue with that. Yeah, so the answer is yeah, probably. It was ugly.
Kind of nods. Says, well, hopefully this does not impact the journey they take next. And then she just turns and starts walking and flicking through her datapad again and just starts rambling on a bit more stuff about your service and the stewards as you walk down the corridor. So it's almost like that brief moment of her being like, let's hope their souls aren't fucked because of that. And then just walks away, totally oblivious to who she's saying that to, of course, and the impact that probably has, right?
Like was used to.
And then it gets to the point where she then just says, and then you died. As she stops suddenly outside a door and then looks up and looks at the door and says, we're here. And she nods and she says, inside if you will. If you...
I go in?
Like, before you head in, she then says, if you require a conversation regarding this, I am on the bridge when on duty, and when not, I will be in the mess hall. And she gives some random ship-based time. And she acknowledges and says, thank you for your service to the stewards. Then she walks away.
Thank you.
And
Shut up.
sorry. Yeah, and you can clearly tell.
Eventually, he says.
And you can clearly tell that she's clearly cares about the people in the stewards, right? Like from the exchange you've had, and also that she's also like a kind of no fucking around. She mostly just wasn't willing to do small talk. She just listed your service record to fill the gap of walking from A to B. And then the only thing she stopped for was to ask about the crew. So yeah, you can maybe guess it. Maybe she knew people, right? That you could read into that, right, from her detective vision, right? You'd be like, probably work out that she's probably aware that she knew at least somebody or worked with them before, right? But couldn't possibly reveal such a connection, professionally. But yeah, so you walk in the room.
We'd have to find a data log on the floor somewhere.
Yeah,
yeah.
Or look under the desk and find the post-it note with their 4-digit code to get to the data log. Yeah, and they're safe.
So
yeah, you walk in this room, and it's almost like an officer's lounge, right? That you walk into, and it's empty, and Babak sat at the bar.
Commander.
And he kind of waves his hand, one of his lower left hands as he waves you off to come closer. With these other two
join him.
Nursing his drink, and he sits one in front of you. And he says, Babak, while in this room, Lyko.
Babak, if you prefer.
And he takes a swig under his mask, and then he says, the other thing I wished to discuss with you. My request to meet you on your vessel above Versus has enlightened me somewhat to suspicions I had.
Okay, I think I know what he's trying to say. You mean to say she was aware of information shared between us?
I asked to meet you on that vessel because it was Vesk in origin, and I have spent enough time with the Vesk operatives to recognize a Obsidian Star non-signature on a vessel. And he kind of just looks at you like a kind of veteran old man look, and then he says, "The Kivalari mission was a failure before you were sent. This degree of failure was unknown to me, which is why you were sent. You were not expendable." And then a couple of seconds, maybe 10 seconds pass, and then he says, "The information was seeded vocally on your ship, not to prove the distrust on yourself or your Vesk captain, but more so the ship's origin, and indeed the former master of your Vesk captain, this event horizon."
I know it.
And then he stands up and just walks around the bar and goes to it, and then just starts like pulling bottles off and then like refilling, the glasses that you've got. And he says, "You have been good to the steward. You have in fact given your life for service in the stewards, and not many can be around to receive that praise."
Yeah, that's true.
"I have concerns." He just looks at you.
Concerns.
Grand concerns.
What can you share?
I have little to share, unfortunately, but this Vesk dispute does not bode well for the Pact Worlds. The Vesk are dangerous enough on their own, but allying with Bone Sages, allying against each other, in fact, is not good for any Pact Worlder.
And so sort of wait a second, and then we were discussing the captain's conversation with Matva.
Event Horizon.
Matt Vralen Ellis.
Yep.
He said, scrolling up.
Yep.
And Captain had come to the same conclusion that we were being heavily surveilled on the ship. No surprise, but perhaps we should have been more careful. I understand your decision. It's a smart choice.
Like, he downs his drink when you're saying that, and he kind of like slams it down to almost like punctuate the fact that he's finished the drink, and he says, "The decision to use you like this did not come easily, but it resulted the swiftest."
It's exactly what I would have done.
And
Thinking back to the fact that he said we'll keep the bugs so that we can release them.
and he kind of nods, he just nods, and he says, "That is because you listen when you should, Lyko."
I hope so. Recently, shaking his head. Recently, things have been, I don't know. Feels like the Pact Worlds are falling apart at the seams. I don't.
He laughs, right? And this is probably the most uncomfortable you've ever been in this man's presence.
Okay.
Because he just laughs, and he like lifts up all four of his hands, and just goes, "I only have so many hands from which to grasp the seams."
Wow. We've been trying to tie up whatever loose ends we can, and it's too much. There's too many things everywhere. I can't work out if it all seems connected because it is, or if it all seems connected because we just have such a partial, minuscule little bit of the picture, and we're throwing things together, we're making connections that we, that aren't really there out of desperation. It's extremely frustrating, and
Yes, often in the dark we see things that aren't there. And it seems that we have been left in the dark during this power play made by the Vesk in both the Obsidian Star and the Mogesh's domains.
I don't know how. I don't know how distinct those two really are. The captain seems to be convinced that the internal divisions in the Vesk are very real. But honestly, I think it's just a clash of personalities at the top. If one of them gets their way and the other's removed from the picture, I think those differences disappear. I don't think it matters too much which one fails.
Looks like
From a pact world perspective.
the Pact World Council of Security Ministers agree with you in this regard. We all are aware that it is a ticking clock until the Vesk declare war on this system. That clock has an extended lifespan thank you to the swarm attacks in the
I
Viscarian
raise my
system.
glass to the swarm slightly. Don't actually see it, but sort of raise it a little bit.
Like,
just sort of
one of his
sort of
hands, like from leaning on the bartender side, moves to touch his empty glass, but he doesn't raise it, right? Almost like he's, putting more thought into that particular choice or not.
Yeah, I mean, Lyco's aware that it's a tacky thing to do, but he does feel it, so
yeah,
he's not going to be too guarded to do that.
and then but as I say, like Babax goes to his empty glass and just stops there, and then he says, "Nobody wins that war."
No. The difference between us and the Vesk is that there's no glory in that for us.
I mean to say the Vesk swarm war. We lose either way.
Swarm. Wow.
Indiscriminate consumption.
True.
And he just kind of like leans back against the bar, and he just kind of like folds his two sets of arms, and he just looks kind of like down at the bar in front of you, and he just kind of like slowly shakes his head and he says, "If the Vesk win outright, their cunning will be disastrous to the Pact Worlds. They are not a mindless enemy. They are some of the most ruthless and most tactically minded opponents I have ever had to outthink. And I cannot always claim victory in that regard."
No, I think.
It looks back up at you. It says, "Your captain is definitely an interesting addition to this." And he kind of like pauses and it says, "Stratagem that we are all part of."
Captain is, well, he is his own man.
Cuts to the captain feeding stuff to Ivan. Like puts in like alarm clock and stuff and gets clipboards and stuff out. Yep, good old Ivan.
Yeah, amazing.
I am wholly convinced that the captain is not aligned to any particular group, although his position makes it very difficult not to work with them at times.
The Vesk interest in the Abyss is potentially very fruitful for the stewards. He just stares at you.
Something specific.
He kind of just stares again for like another 5-10 seconds of nothing. And then he says, "Does Deputy sit ill with you?"
Sort of, make a sort of expression to convey a degree of, it's neither here nor there. I enjoy the freedom.
He nods and says, "As I thought you would. My preference would be to officially bring you into the investigation itself. I would happily assign this investigation to you, officially. However, no deputy will lead an investigation." The badge I'll have left you with these months. Assuming that is in fact how long it's been since Absalom, because I don't remember, right? Like,
yeah, it's got to be at least.
time is a vampire,
couple of months.
so like
Time is
basically since you've been deputized, way back when you
Way
became
back.
an ambassador, so it's been at least a year actually. Then, because you've worked for like the Search for Zig for a year.
Yeah.
Was it Star Trek 2, The Search for Zig, or whatever? So, but yeah, I says this last year or so, you have been left officially a deputy, for I figured it would facilitate ease of passage as you gathered information. You are a useful ally, Lyko.
Thank you for saying this.
I would not enjoy finding a replacement for the niche in my intelligence gathering that you fill.
I know in my head. I'll say, I I also find my current position allows me to take on work that is important to me personally, which may not necessarily be consistent steward rules and doctrines. And
He waves a hand and he says, "I'm sure I wouldn't need to hear of such things." And he just nods, officially, of course.
is this something I have time to think about?
And then, like, his eyes soften a tiny bit, and he kind of his shoulders slump ever so slightly. And he says, "Your usefulness is unlikely to diminish overnight." He nods, and then he holds up the bottle, and he says, "One for the road."
Sure.
He fills your glass again, fills his own. You clink them, and then
Yeah, clink.
he downs his under his mask.
I want to say one thing with him here because I think I should. Just having taken a drink from mine and sort of not really looking at anything in particular, just looking over the drink, and we mean to go to Yox. Are you aware of that?
I am at least aware of it now.
Could cause some problems for the stewards if an official acting steward, not just acting, I should say, a fully employed steward, were to turn up on Eox involved in.
You just hear him say, "Again, you mean?" And there's the tiniest tone of humour in that.
Well, look. You're aware, of course, of Cindiel's, well, disappearance following events in Absalom.
Yes, he just says very kind of bluntly. Yep.
Well, I am able to, as best I can, without visiting Eox, confirm his, if you can call it that, death.
So, are we to believe the conspiracy theories that this Eoxian bone sage was the reason the station held together long enough to evacuate most of the personnel? Or is it like the official statement where it seemed to be Eoxian sabotage on the station?
Cindiel, whatever his eccentricities, remains, as far as I could tell, entirely loyal to the Pact Worlds and honorable in his conduct. He is a was. It's not clear whether is or was is appropriate when referring to a creature like him.
And he says, when they arrived on Absalom, I had research compiled. And are you aware Cindael was the first and leading voice in signing the Pact Worlds agreement?
Had I heard that? I think I heard something about him being
I don't know, I'll be
the
honest.
most prominent. So
So Ramasethu mentioned that Cindael is the voice people listen to.
yeah, I think it would be fair for me to say something like, I heard enough to assume he would have to be some, he would, okay, so
Cindael was like the one that made the most sense when it came to allowing the Bone Sages to get up to their Bone Sagey shit for like the longest and the least interference, right? That's Cindael was good at keeping the peace fundamentally, whereas Tectalanis like wants Bone Sage supremacy, right? So that's why it's a bit of that's what Ramasethu was conveying. He is a catalyst in the wrong way, and Cindael was a catalyst in the right way.
I knew enough about his position within the Bone Sages to assume he would have been one of the voices in that particular chorus.
Babak like lifts one of his wrists up and taps a couple of things and brings up like a hollow projection of like the Pact Worlds agreement and actually scrolls down to the signatures that are all there and highlights it. And obviously it translates. Yeah, it's Cindael's signature right at the top. He's like, what do you know? Our lasting peace agreement signed by arguably a nightmarish monster. And he like closes his fist to cancel the hologram. And he turns to you and says, appearances can be deceiving is the lesson to learn from this, I think.
Yeah. Cindael is an odd creature, but frankly, I think he's as close to benevolent as a being of his kind can be.
Was.
Yeah, that's where it gets tricky, because Bone Sages don't really die the way you or even I would die.
He tilts his head at that.
They have devices.
He just stares.
Infamously sought after devices. Which retain the personality, I suppose.
Some kind of mystical backup device, I believe.
Exactly.
Is this why you are still with us, Lyko? Are you also part of this database?
No, why I am still with Oz, gesturing vaguely. I don't truthfully know. The the Barai, as we're generally called, are something of a mystery, even to those who dabble in necromantic magics. But I'm informed by a source I trust, because I see no reason for her to have lied, and because I see every reason to believe that she'd be in a position to know this, I am told that Sindel may have had a hand in the creation of my kind.
Can I just nod, like a kind of raised eyebrow?
So as to why I'm still walking and talking when most people who get zapped in the head with magic stay dead, couldn't tell you. But if anyone could,
And this is your mission to Eox, I presume.
it's part of it. That and someone needs to counterbalance Tectalanus. Stop the Bone Sages from becoming an ally against the Pact Worlds.
Are we sure that your vision is clear on this one, Lyko? This is very close to your heart, so to speak. Perhaps this trusted informant knows this about you and merely wishes to recuperate the numbers of the quite diminished Bone Sages.
It's true. I had considered that a possibility. You wouldn't need to really know anything about me at all to know enough to use my condition against me. Anyone who knows what we are, and an individual such as this one would inevitably know exactly what I am, would, well, you know what the Borai are, you know that no one really knows what the Borai are, and that's something that could be used against any of us. Anyone my condition who wasn't a complete moron would wonder why they came to be, how they came to be. Yeah, I'm aware that's something that could be used against me. And truthfully, I'd like to say I'm going in clear headed, but I wouldn't really know if I was. My own interests are guiding me. If I'm. I can't. I can't really put myself outside of my own position. It's.
He nods and he says, "Nor should you. Instinct is what governs good detectives."
That reminds me of one little thing I didn't mention, partly because I didn't want to mention it in front of Drew. Not that I distrust them, I just didn't want them. I didn't want them thinking that I was suspicious of her. I look round to him
Oh.
just a little bit
Mhm.
to see if he catches what I'm saying without my
Mhm.
needing to say it. 'cause
Tell you what,
I
I'll
would
roll,
not
I'll roll,
want to
right?
say it.
We'll see if he does, right? So,
Okay.
no. So I think he just does that thing where he raises his eyebrow again, like lifts his head slightly, to be like, please go on, you know?
Something just came across very odd when we encountered Shakos. Don't. Bess came aboard in what appears to be an entirely peaceable boarding, and she hid in the one part of the ship where we couldn't access any sort of security. Now, maybe there are tapes that are accessible to you. I'm not saying I think she was up to anything in there. I don't know why. That's what puzzles me. Why did she hide? Even if the Vesk weren't entering in a hostile, if even if they were entering in a hostile attack, if even if they were trying to board the vessel with hostile intentions, why would one of the crew hide?
I will inform you of this as well, Lyko, in the interest of our... And what's the word I'm looking for? Candidity? He says...
And
Yeah, that'll do. I like candidity, but candor, I guess. Fine. A real word. So yeah, in the interest of our candor. Relay station 152, or whatever the fuck that number was. I think it was 152. Relay Station 152 did not transmit any surveillance data. Shakos will be debriefed. I will keep this in mind, but I will not share this as of yet until the results of the debriefing can be reviewed.
I will not.
And says the medical personnel inform me that the crew would be best served undisturbed for at least another 48 hours.
I understand.
As I said, if there's anything you wish to be asked during their full debriefing, I can make sure that is done also. But they will remain on Versus for now. Beyond this,
Sorry.
it says beyond this, if there is anything else I can do, and then that's when you can lean in if you wish.
If possible, I would like any questions go to them directly from myself that I might have, and I'll explain my reasoning. I don't want any of them getting the impression that there is a sense among their superiors that the mission was mishandled, or that their conduct was in some way lacking. I don't want to, frankly, I don't want to needlessly alarm them, and I don't want to put them in the back foot. I don't want them defensive. If it's coming from me, they might get annoyed about it, but then they'll just be annoyed with me. There's no reason to sow distrust within the ranks if it can be avoided. If I ask any impertinent questions, they'll put it off as an eccentric bounty hunter.
Ken
You know,
nods, like understanding. He says,
It's
you will be on the visitation list of the facility on Versus.
thank you.
And you'll know that's just the steward facility, right? You'll know
Yeah.
that. You just know that instinctively. That's where they'll be kept. Even though your deputy badge could get you in there, but obviously if you're allowed officially in there as a non-steward personnel, that also helps you, right? And he says, until the next drink, Lyko.
Thank you, Babak.
Again nods. And then just kind of looks at you. And looks at the door.
I would nod to him, and I'll just turn and
Nope. And he just sits back down at the bar as you leave. So yeah, do you return to the group, or do you go elsewhere?
I will return to the group.
Okay, what does he come back to, guys?
How many clipboards have I got so far?
Alright, you've got a couple of hard hats, you've got some clipboards, you've got some pens, which there's no paper, but you've got some pens.
I have a nice ink, man, but I love it, man. Or is it just empty? Just empty.
How does he create anything? Right? Like, I
Oh,
don't know why ink's the weird thing.
That's true, but I mean,
Right. Arguably anything with power might need some kind of graphene-based battery, which means you could get a pencil, no bother, right? So let's not quibble.
that's the great invention of a godly creature.
Incredibly illegal tech, yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
You're just feeding him stuff in the bedroom. Yep, amazing. Yeah, he's probably got a pile of random crap, quite frankly.
Nice. I like
Yeah.
it.
But
Well,
yeah.
that's could come in handy.
So yeah, I think Lyko walks in. The whoosh of the door closes, and yeah. What's the scene, guys?
I think Zig's just meditating.
Mhm.
Or attempting to.
It's weird up to.
This is, you said it's an ambassadorial suite, yeah?
Yeah, so it's like, just imagine it like a fancy hotel suite-esque, but on a ship equivalent. So there's like at least like a study type area. There's like a mini kitchen there's a kind of lounge area where you could like host people if need be, and
How's
then
the
there's
bar?
the bedroom. What's that? Sorry, a bar?
How's the bathroom?
Oh, the bathroom. It depends. What do you want to do to the bathroom?
At the very least, a foot bath, if not a full.
Yeah,
You
why
know,
not?
bubble bath.
Mhm.
Everything.
Yeah, some kind of possible hot tub design.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm all about that right now.
you can bin that in. Yeah, why not?
I haven't told the other two that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, makes sense. Yep.
Into an audiobook.
The captain's probably not noticed that you've probably, because the bathroom's probably in the bedroom, and
Mhm.
you've probably walked past Ivan and him very carefully,
Yep.
and not come back out of said bathroom, just been in there for the whole
My
time.
clock is large enough for my frame.
It's
Yep.
fine. Ivan won't eat you. He's a good guy, man.
Wobbles.
Zig needed to go pee, and then I was just meditating, trying to hold it in, waiting for you
so-
to finish.
So yeah, I like how you come back to Zig meditating, and the captain just sitting in a pile of random miscellany.
Hi. How's it?
Been fine. In Ivan have just been messing around.
It wobbles.
I see that. Sure. The I spoke with Babak.
Oh,
He seems to confirm our suspicions about the final hour.
Zig would open a single eye, and then close it again to.
Zig would wink.
meditating.
It's for your sake.
Oh dear.
It's not meditating at all. Yeah. Definitely going to get that checked. Anything else?
I don't really know, to be honest with you, at the moment. So, what are we doing with the rest of our time here?
Have a look at the pile of like miscellaneous items. So yeah, I was just going to see how much this room I could fill up with shit before I left.
Nod my head.
You just give Alice shit, right? I mean, come on. Oh dear.
Okay. You're that bored already? It's been like an hour.
I mean, there's a lot to do, and this is just wasting time.
Unfortunately, I think we have to stick around.
I know. Procedure.
I nod. Also,
Golf.
I want to be a little more involved in the investigation. I think it would I think it'd be useful to know how this shakes out. Something's definitely up here. The commander confirmed there wasn't any surveillance received.
Oh.
We can't review what happened in that ship, not from tape.
The mystery continues then.
That seems, yeah, it seems to me at least. It seems not good. Not an encouraging sign.
So. No. Wait. I said. Let's say that because it's influenced. I don't want to be influenced. No.
Oh, my.
Anyway, I kind of want to. I want to think about things. I'm gonna go into a bed, like moving away from the one Ivan's consuming.
Well, there is the one double bed, right? And he's at like a quarter of it.
Oh right.
So it's like the bottom quarter. So you could probably just sleep on the other half as long as you just.
I'm not going to do that.
You're not a you mechanical in any way.
I know, but even so,
You're fine, mate.
so I need to
Fine.
breathe. Remember,
Yeah, we're gonna let him. We're gonna let him.
you know
It's
what?
alright.
What kind of
It's
seating
off the
is?
bed.
What kind of seating?
There is a very big, like, one of those, maybe a big incel to the wall. Like, massive couch. You could definitely, like, sleep 3 people on this couch, right? So.
I'm gonna go and plonk myself down on that, and cogitate. And specifically, I want to use some of my
In
time
front
to
of the captain.
detective's insight.
Mhm.
To spend 1 resolve point in 10 minutes pondering the mysteries of the Kivalari.
Okay.
Because
What does this
I
buy
can
you?
mechanically just do that now.
Okay. And what does it buy you?
That's not what I meant to press. So, I can spend 1 resolve point and take 10 minutes pondering a mystery or quandary to gain an enigmatic insight as if I had cast Divination.
Why?
Bastard.
So now we need
Yes,
to look
as
at
if I had-
definition.
I can cast spells with my brain without casting spells.
That feels a bit bullshitty, but I love it.
It is.
It's-
You know why? Because I'm a detective, like
Yeah.
Batman.
Like Wizard Batman. Okay, similar to augury but more powerful, a divination spell can provide you with a useful piece of advice in reply to a question concerning a specific goal, event, or activity that is to occur within 1 week. Casting this spell requires you to expend 1 resolve point. The advice granted by the spell can be as simple as a short phrase, or it might take the form of a cryptic rhyme or omen.
Yeah,
Yes. If
it
you
says that in my description as well, so it's not just the spell version.
if
That
you
happens
don't
for detectives too.
If you don't act on the information, the conditions may change so that the information is no longer useful. The chance for a correct divination is 75%. If the die roll fails, you know the spell failed, unless specific magic yielding false information is at work. Man, that last line's a dick. As with augury, multiple castings of divination about the same topic by the same caster used the same die result as the first divination and yield the same answer each time. So you can't just like roll to get a better result.
Yeah, you can't just spam it.
Yeah, that's quite cool. I like that.
So
Okay,
can
so
I just type that into the pro thingy so you know I'm doing it?
yeah, go for it, and then you can
so-
roll a d100, and obviously, we'll just say the first 25. So 1 to 25 is bogus, right?
Okay, so detectives insight. Oh, was that my audio or
Don't worry about it.
insight used? Pondering. And I will roll a d100. It's a 49.
Yay! So it didn't fail. Okay, so do you want to narrow down what you'd like me to answer? I don't mind working with you with this.
The answer in a vague, ominous, and enigmatic way. I would like some sort of hint as to, since it's on my mind. No, actually, that's too narrow.
Yeah, ask the group if you want. Get the group to help you as well. I don't mind if you want to have a wee 5
any
minutes.
input? Well, I will tell you what I was thinking first, guys. Right. So I was thinking that since it's in his mind, why was Shakos so panicked by what appears to be a completely peaceful boarding? Just because her Vesk? She's dealt with Vesk, you know. So that was kind of what I was thinking, because it's obviously on his mind right now. But obviously, I'm aware there could be more important questions to ask, like, what the fuck were the Greys doing there, maybe? Or, were the Vesk present really doing so for legitimate reasons as they appear to have been? Could be something like that. I don't know. I'm open to suggestions.
I don't know. Like,
Well, the way to look at it is, I
cosplay would be nice.
was gonna say, what gives you the most momentum for the next thing you're doing, right? Like, what is the like? Yeah, sure. So you could learn about Shakos, you could learn about the Greys, you could learn about the Vesk, you could learn about any aspects of it, right? But what one actually gives you the most of a stepping stone to solve whatever else you've got going on, right?
It's gotta. See, that's difficult, because I was going to say it's got to be the Vesk, but right now, a lot easier for us to ask about Shakos, right? We could ask her, we could ask her boss, we could ask her colleagues, potentially.
But then does Shakos help Zora's, stuck between a star and a Mogesh place, right? Problem.
No. As a great man once said.
Yes. So it just depends how useful you want this to be in terms of what you're actually getting up to. Because yes, you could solve the Shakos mystery, I guess, get us some hints towards that. But does it actually lead you anywhere or not? That's not me saying as a DM, by the way, the Shakos thing goes nowhere. It's just me saying, does it actually go nowhere for you guys? Because you could prove she was like, cool or not cool, and then that kind of wraps itself up, right?
Yeah, but then I suppose you could then use her, seeing as she's got a, pretty strong connection with Lyko.
Keep going. Anymore?
So if she is involved, or if she's involved, then she can help with the Vesk thing without her knowing that she's helping.
Yeah, or likewise, if she's not involved in anything nefarious and she is completely innocent, then she could still also help with the Vesk thing, right?
Yeah,
if she gets the leave to do so by her superiors. The Weird. Any thoughts on divination for Lyko?
Divinity.
I think I'm still a bit unsure about the relationship between the Vesk and the stewards. They seem to be pretty buddy right now. Yeah, kind of. I don't see what all the stress was about with Shakos. I'm kind of agreed that I think that's quite an interesting path to go down.
Well, there you go,
I
Lyko.
think, actually, yeah, the Vesk question is, I think it's broader, but not too broad. Like, what were the Vesk doing in the Kivalari? Because that does connect to the question of what are they doing with stewards generally. And we have, we know on the surface level what that's about. It's the fact that the stewards weren't really in a position to say no, fuck off. But yeah, like, is there something deeper? Is there some sort of infiltration going on? So I think the one that maybe gives us the most is to ponder about what precisely the Vesk doing toward the Kivalari, i.e., how did they come upon it?
Okay.
Why did they decide to help out rather than just monitor from afar? Were they just being good citizens? That kind of thing.
Are
They weren't
you?
just being good citizens.
What was that? Sorry. Weird.
They definitely weren't just being good citizens.
So, I mean, technically they're not citizens of the Pact World either. So there's a thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So that you want that one? That's what you're settled on. Yeah.
Let's go, Vesk.
Okay.
Let's go, Vesk. Let's go.
See, finally, Lyko, you've converted. Sorry, Nico, I should say, you've converted them all. Finally.
Exactly.
The long game.
Let's go.
So, if that is the case, I think the last shot is Lyko sat with, his head in the cushion, like leaning back, staring at the ceiling of this suite, just trying to piece everything together in his brain. And everything that, Babak said pseudo-publicly, and then at the bar, everything he said in communications, everything that you know from the greater Vesk, I guess, interference from Zora's chats, and all the the captain's log that you had, the stuff that CC helped translate for you, the state of affairs on the Kivalari, right down to like markings on the walls and scuff marks on the bulkheads underneath your feet, and everything Shakos said regarding Vesk and everything as well. The thing that clicks does seem likely that the Vesk used the information from Babak's meeting with you and Zora to get to this location first and interfere. It's too vague to tell if they actually had the weapon in the first place. So it could just be that they very opportunely were in a place to take the crew back to look helpful while leaving the weapon that they secured. So there's obviously something weird about why wouldn't they just take the weapon, right? That's very, very strange. So is their play to end up with the weapon because of this interaction? Right?
Okay.
So it definitely seems like the Obsidian Star have involved themselves deliberately in this scenario.
Yeah.
And as to why, Matva having a weapon that would put a lot of blame or power on the Bone Sages is the iffy part, because, like you said, would create undead, arguably. Makes Bone Sages useful. Or looks like a bioweapon made by, Vesk, since the Vesk are immune. Interesting. But none of that ties in with the 3 Aspis in-league people that made the trade in the first place.
Yeah.
So there is that angle to still explore. I don't know if that's too vague for the spell or if that's too specific. I don't know how you feel about that answer.
I think it's sufficiently vague, yeah. I don't think I would want to get too much more specific because, it is supposed to be a little bit enigmatic.
Yeah, so I think from that you can tell that Matva is not on the level at all, right? I think that's what you can summarise from that. Matva has definitely involved herself in this situation. That's fairly clear based on what's been pieced together, if you're willing to trust Babak. And beyond that, Shakos still doesn't add up, and the only next lead, I guess, is these 3 contacts from, some subsidiary of Aspis Consortium. So if you are looking to try and probe further into the whodunit, it's maybe them you'd need to chase up.
Okay.
Because if they're officially part of Aspis, then it's unlikely the Vesk faked that, right?
Yeah.
But if they just happened to be part of Aspis conveniently so and were picked by the Vesk to make sure it felt discardable, then maybe Matva had more of a hand in the whole thing, or maybe the Mogesh did, right? Like, maybe that angle will confirm whether or not the Vesk are kind of responsible solely for this or not.
Shot of Lyko lounging, stroking his chin.
Wow, astral beard.
I think
That's correct.
A bubble beard.
the last shot is Zig, like next to the comm device as it flashes with an incoming message.
Yes, he kind of, rises up and looks at it.
And it's a query, very haphazardly. It's a pre-recorded message, and like there's alarms going off in the background.
Oh.
And he says, "So, hi, Zig. The
Got my name right.
piloting the shuttle was great. That was fun. So we're arrested." And the message cuts off as he's tackled by steward officers. And that's where we end the session.
You've probably just done something stupid.
You had one job.
Oh, you know what? I should have gone in Conspiracy Craig's site and posted something that would have got them.
I mean, yeah, let's face it, CC would have got that in no time. What would you
Yeah.
just like to name the session, guys?
Candor.
I quite like Don't Panic.
Yeah,
Don't panic.
yeah, like pop them into chat. We'll get the votes in.
I'm a don't panic boy. You know what? I'll go for that.
Come on, vote.
Mhm.
Don't panic is the Biden of this
My,
selection.
no. Okay. I feel like that was an easy win then. Not the Biden thing, just the don't panic thing. Okay, so goals, guys. Right, so Zora, instead of telling anyone about their ranks and the crew, by the way, decided to feed Ivan stuff from the room, just so you know.
Mate, it's fine. We'll do that later. Fine.
Best captain. Yep.
Wait.
Mate, I'm fucking showing appreciation to a crew member that has been long lost. Okay, right.
We did do a goal though.
Yeah, what'd you get?
We got the one, the Ivan, oh baby. I don't know what that's worth.
Yeah, he's got it. It was part of actually committing to the Kivalari. Yeah, you did it, guys. You did it.
And not only that, but I would say.
Yeah,
the last
this is the
one
part I think.
debatable.
Right, so we'll quickly go through the ones that I was going to say. We'll quickly run through the ones that aren't going to come up. Right, configure the rankings. No. Retrieve the electroencephalon. No.
Oh yeah.
Build the business. No. Zenaida. No. Speak to Ramasethu. No. Prepare and embark for Eox. No. Repair the fleet. No. So we got Ivan. Yes. And now the one that you should all discuss.
I believe we have resolved that to a reasonable degree of satisfaction.
What? I mean,
Yeah, so what's everybody's
essentially-
back opinions, right? This is a good wee 5-minute chat, I think, that we should have.
I think Babak's been framed.
I'm still on the side of I think that we trust them because I just hope they fuck that anybody else is untrustworthy. Yes. I just need to hope that there's somebody good in this world.
It's Alice, we know that.
Believe he's a good guy. Aye.
So if you'll give me my Pepe Sylvia moment, I think that Shakos has been gotten to by Vesk intelligence or
She's
someone
been
else in
found.
yours, probably her, and has been enlisted to set up Babak by obtaining his ID and placing it in the ship, thereby seemingly compromising him, leading us to distrust and generally to undermine his his position. I think that their objective in doing this is possibly to neutralize the stewards through distrust and by diverting their focus, and probably also ours, by leading us to waste time investigating the stewards. We have to look into this if we're going to look into this. We can't just ignore the possibility of some stewards being involved. So I think this has been a Vesk false flag. And Babak is simply the guy that they knew was in charge, and therefore the guy that they sought to implicate.
I suppose the thing that kind of reinforces your opinion on that is that Babak is slightly incorruptible, right? On paper. So.
Yeah, on paper, which is weird in itself. Again, weird in itself. But I think. Oh, by the way, I meant
give his
check.
Ivan back.
I need to get the law officer stuff because I'll have gained a new trait from that. The level 12 one. I can't find it. But anyway, because I don't have that book. Yeah, my view is that Babak is more or less on the level, and the Vesk are not. Which seems a reasonable conclusion to come to, but based on the evidence at hand, like, Vesk had a good excuse for being there, only it's a little too convenient, and now we know with a reasonable degree of certainty they were spying on us. So why did they want to go to the Kivalari? Because it was spying on a different Vesk vessel?
Mm.
So what? They know about it. That kind of nullifies its risk, its threat, right? So if they were just out to protect Demogesh, there are far better ways to go about it. Plus, we have reason to believe they don't want to protect Demogesh. So if they're trying to undermine him, how does screwing up the surveillance of him help? So if it's about
So,
Demogesh,
just
it
to
doesn't
devil's
make sense.
advocate that for you, though, something that might occur to Lyco is they might be there to get intel gained by the stewards. They might not want to share against Demogesh, so they
Sure.
can then use that against them as well. You could argue
That's
that
fair.
too.
Yeah.
I think that was something that would easily come to Lyco's head, is maybe they would happily, because you know obviously that Zora's came clean about the mission to screw over Demogesh. Let's face it, it's not a mystery to you. As for that, then, what's Zora's opinion on the Babak situation then?
Like, I think he's trustworthy. I mean, I've said it before. I don't trust Matva. I would like Matva if I didn't. If I trusted her, at that point. Like, but
What is it that makes
I-
you not trust Matt out of interest?
I mean, it's not that I don't trust her, right? It's just I know what our motives are. I know what like our end game is, like, and I just don't like that.
Mm.
I mean, why they wanted to get to the Kivalari before us, I don't know, and I don't get it. As for like maybe implicating Chakos with the Veska, I don't really think so. Like, why would our first thing be like it was the Veska did it if like she was she was being pressured by the Vesk sort of idea? I don't think she would like implicate or pressure us.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what I mean.
But
Like,
that's exactly why I would do it. We're not working in enough levels of paranoia.
You need to get some post-it notes, some pin tacks, some string, and a cork board from Ivan.
Actually exist.
There's got to be some like serious like life threat stuff, or like at least like serious like life changing stuff. Like if she's like been pressured at the point where she's got to like say something to the stewards because she's obviously a hard working lady. Like
She's also been
so
like, she has also been kicked by the stewards a bit though, right? Like obviously, like from a meta knowledge level, like we know that she's not had the greatest career in the stewards though, despite her hard work.
maybe it's a change of heart.
Because it's just a potential motive, right? If you've been burned by your employer, you're not likely to stay loyal to them, right?
If you've been burned, like kind of, she's not like the lowest of the low, right?
Nope, and she does have respect for Babak, right? Like that's a thing. Like she was fairly open about that during the whole Kivalari mission. That she was like, well, while you may have suspicions of him, I still report to him. So, you know, yeah, she was still on the level. She was very much like, let's not go hack that, relay station 152. That seems interesting now, right, Lyco? With suspicion implied.
It does, and yet also there's the fact that we wouldn't have found anything if we had, but we would have found the fact that we wouldn't find anything.
Mm.
So we would have known that we didn't know it.
But it might also have been a bit more like, well, obviously we know why she didn't want to hack because it's illegal to do that. But then also, would that have been another feather out of her cap?
I think a wee bit of the evidence as well is what we've got to think about is like. In fact, nah, I guess that doesn't work out because she was. I mean,
Just speak out loud, yeah. Just no dumb ideas.
it was just the fact that like. I was going the assumption really that the Fest didn't know about the Kivalari until we knew about it. Sort of idea, but they obviously got there first. We don't know how much they did to the ship. I mean, I guess they didn't cause the wetting, right? Because the wetting thing started before the Fest got there.
Yeah, they're just conveniently immune.
Yep.
Like, yeah, they're just. I mean, I'm not saying they didn't.
So the
don't know, but I don't
the
know.
thing that went through Lygo's head based on his divination was if those 3 Aspis linked people were actually Vesk people, then the Vesk they're entirely responsible for the weapon,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
Whereas if they are genuinely related to Aspis, it's less likely that it was more likely the Vesk just happened upon it conveniently, right?
My main thing really is I just don't get Ava's angle for this.
Mhm.
I'm not saying it couldn't be Vest because I've said that a million times.
That's if there is an angle for the weapon, right? Because I mean, like that ship, the Obsidian Starship, they just leave it on board, right? As if they didn't care. They gave it a secure case and then left, took the dangerous crew off to safety. So, yeah, like if anything, they did pretty good by the stewards in the Pack Worlds, quite frankly. But yeah,
Other than maybe just to get like a foothold in the stewards, maybe a favour or some shit. I don't know. Maybe
I mean,
she's
Matt got on board the the Calm Before the Storm, right? So it definitely worked.
she probably wants some sway with the stewards as well if she wants to go against Demogesh and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, because it would be Dumogesh that was the point man for the steward Vesk interactions after Absalom, not the Obsidian Star.
In part as a mystery to me still though. I don't say it isn't Vesk, I just don't think it was Matva.
Okay, so if we pull it back to Babak, what's the thoughts?
I mean, I'm kind of cool with Babak. I think he's cool. But I don't know why his dog tag was there. I do think he is straight and narrow.
Weird? What are your thoughts on the Babak situation?
I don't know. Too perfect.
Is this just I was gonna say he's a cop. Yeah, okay, so let's get Alex's opinions of cops to the side.
No, this is not Alex's personal cop. This is Weird. Weird has an established background in conspiracy.
Mhm. Yep.
There's somewhat predicated on his kind of, android abolitionist tendencies
Mhm.
and his knowledge of suppressed technologies. So, in this world, conspiracy Craig forms aren't totally crazy.
Weirdly, right?
Yeah, we've established that. So here's a distrust for authority. But when is a distrust between the stewards or the Vesk authority?
Mhm.
The Vesk seem more likely to be dodgy.
Okay.
Although I think probably what we're looking at is a steward's black op of some sort, which the Vesk would then, at some point interfered with.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we got the steward spying on Demogesh and the Obsidian Star coming in taking that away.
Mhm. And that's like, yeah, that's not even that far fetched. Quite frankly, that's almost the plot, right? Let's face it, it's almost exactly what it says on the tin. So yeah, a million miles away. But I guess like if you had to have a yes or no button for Babak to like, if he asked you something that involved trusting him, what would be your opinion in the meeting of the crew? Yes or no?
I've got a feeling it depends what he's asking me to do. But no, I wouldn't trust him just for the sake of trusting him.
Okay, that's fine. That's
Yes.
good enough. Yeah. And Zig, thoughts? Babak?
I think he's the best we're gonna get.
Okay.
Whether or not he's good or not is irrelevant. He's the closest to
Oh,
the straight and
Uncle
narrow that
Biden.
we've got.
Yes.
How
The
dare
lesser
you.
of the evils. Yeah.
The Witcher would be disgusted. Just saying.
Not to
That's
Demogesh, I think is the answer.
Okay, so are you a ye trust or a nay trust?
The diggity.
Give me
Trust
child.
is a strong word, but probably trust more than trusts the rest of the big players here.
Interesting.
That's where he stands on that. Apart from me, I trust myself, obviously.
So,
Okay.
do we have to determine
But
how
trust
involved
me.
complicit Babak was? Right? Is that an answer we've got yet?
Zig's opinion lies with the captain.
I don't think we'll ever get like a proper definitive answer like to that. Only he just shows up one day.
Just get
people
Tanida
are
to
both
take his
going,
information.
True. Just heat tap. Let us introduce you to our queen.
Give me your knowledge.
I didn't vote for her.
I would.
You don't
Sorry.
vote for a queen. Anyway, so yeah, so Lyko, how do you feel about that goal now? Like,
I have no fucking idea.
because I was gonna say it kind
I
of
guess
sounds.
That means I can't answer it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I kind of feel like maybe it needs to be rephrased in a, with reasonable doubt. How complicit was Babak? Right? Is that where we're going? Because yeah, I feel like you're the only one that's kind of on the I think he's okay, whereas everybody else is like maybe
Well, I
not.
think, yeah, I think I've got an idea that he's probably somewhat complicit, but not in the super sinister way.
Okay.
Just in the oppressive state kind of way,
hmm
the standard way.
Down with the establishment, etc. Yep, I get you.
Yes.
Okay. How about we? I feel like we've done we've done a lot of legwork for that goal. I don't know if we've got to determine how involved and complicit he actually was fixed, but do we have a way to evolve that goal at the moment? Because I feel like you've done enough work on the chasing up Babak stuff to have completed a goal related to him. I just don't know if it is specifically that exact wording, right?
I don't know,
I
like,
do not know.
because, like, we determined the fact that he was using his right, then, like, he's completely in the mission.
Yeah, so he said that pretty much to Lyko was, I did in fact use the fact that you were on a Vesk ship to test a theory of mine. And it, I mean,
Psycho is completely fine. Just so we're clear,
Yeah.
that doesn't at all lessen, lessen him in Lyco's mind. That's just good police work.
okay, so is it maybe then that you have confronted Babak with intel? Is I think the goal you have completed, right? Because I feel like that's kind of what you're doing, and you were trying to then gauge Babak from this. But you are still now trying to work out to determine how complicit he is.
I'll just change, like...
Because I feel like that's still an ongoing goal then, if you are still unsure.
Okay,
I
yeah,
don't know,
I don't mind
determined,
leaving it in an ongoing as an ongoing. I think that's fine.
may as well.
But then I don't mind if you move across this immediately just made goal, because I do feel like you did put work into it, and I feel like it is like deliver intel to try and gauge Babak's complicity, as it were. So I feel like you want to have that in a completed slot somewhere, just as we're still ticking away good progress.
Yeah, reword this, or did I just...
Well, no, because determine's still there, right? Because that's
That
still
was still there. Yeah, we're leaving.
it's just a new one. So just insert a new blank.
Cool, I guess I was going to do it in the empty spot just to till it got approved, but so I'll just put it.
Yeah, just chuck it in completed, because we still need one for the blank slot. So, guys, what's our new goal? Well, Nico's typing in the other one. What's next on the agenda?
Oh, save the crew from being arrested.
So, what was that? Ensure safe return of Azure Flare crew.
Yeah.
Because you know they went peacefully, right? If it got rambunctious, right? Query, the crazy man that he is, Isabel and Thanaida. They definitely went without a fight.
Clear up the misunderstanding of.
Yeah, and that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And everybody happy with that one then for the new goal?
Yeah, I'm down.
Mm-hmm. Unless any other random thoughts. Weird? Anything?
Nope.
Good with that one? Good. Okay. Keep in mind, guys, at any point, if there are goals that are no longer being pursued from the ideas list, feel free to delete them and we'll tidy up the ideas list as and when. There we go. Good. So, 2 goals done. bit of a strange change to the goals there, but that was fine. I just felt like there had been a lot
Strange.
had been done that deserved progress being marked. Because it is a very difficult one to actually try and say one way or the other with Babak at this moment in time. Beyond that, though, wrap up chat. Do you want to start us off, Zig?
Yeah.
Good.
That was really good. There's a lot that I actually really enjoyed. Perhaps too much.
Probably.
It was nice. I really liked our progression of telling the truth to Babak. It just got progressively more, especially, we got to the point. It was like, yeah, how we said, right, give us the coordinates for this. Yes, we said it was on the ship, but actually
Well, it's
it's
Captain
actually
Alive.
on a different ship.
Got it wrong.
did.
It's
I didn't get it wrong. I just wasn't expecting.
Like
oh,
the number
yeah,
of
it was on a
people
different
in the
ship.
room versus the quality of truth told in said room definitely,
Could have just went like, oh, just send like a wee message to like Farida and just say, get the fucking canisters on the final hour quick.
Mhm.
Like
That's
so
what my plan was going to be, and then
like because we wanted to keep like at least that ship secret,
Secret.
but no.
and then
just
like I
gotta
just
tell
like,
them
oh
about
no,
the
it's on this
ship,
other
he
ship. I was
doesn't
like,
know
no. So I really enjoyed that. It was really good. I loved my Lyco Polo game. I don't care what Mike thinks of that. I think it was great.
Yep.
And yeah, just like the crew being in the same place in a horrible situation.
No prison cells though, which was a plus, I guess.
No prison cells.
Mhm.
I particularly actually enjoyed the captain's answering the door, going Lyco. I'm like, oh yeah, that was good. That was good.
Just the disgust on that officer's face. Like,
It was, yeah, it was something.
mm-hmm. Yeah, anything else, buddy?
No, it was great. Thank you very much.
No problem. And our
You
squeak,
guys were awesome.
our squeaky queen, squeaky queen, that'll do. Squeaky queen, android. Weird.
Squeaky squeak.
I
Yeah, just a
enjoyed
clean.
being able to clean up for the first time in a couple of years.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
We don't do enough of the maintenance on this show.
Mm-hmm.
So I will be signposting all bathroom trips from now on.
Good. I appreciate this.
Donna hasn't bathed in 12 years. I'm sure.
To be fair, see when you explode every couple of weeks just with fire, I feel like that's a self-cleaning process.
Lots of
Full cleanse.
carbon there.
Mm.
No, what else was there? I always enjoyed Leica going off conspiracy directions. Just being able to sit back and just listen to the Manchurian candidate develop over here.
The Mancunian candidate.
Yeah, the Barai candidate. Yep. That'll definitely be an episode title at some point, I think. Good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's everything.
Mhm.
That's cool.
Good. And Captain Zora.
Yeah, I enjoyed that Mava.
Mhm.
Like I said, if I did trust her, I would enjoy her very much. But I just know she's not in the straight and narrow.
No, not at all.
I know it. I want to know. I want to not know it. It's one character.
And yeah, you don't really want her on the opposite side of the board from you, right? Like that's the other thing as well.
Sure.
Mhm.
Getting the whole right hand position isn't a terrible idea. I'm just wrong.
Right? No, right. Like that very
Like, so
subtle
rules.
implication. It's been like, yeah, you could do that with your position, Mm-hmm.
We sort out the best problem once and for all.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The first ever Yosoki right hand of the Garium.
Love it.
But yeah, the back's a joy as always.
Good.
Say that as straight face as possible. That's Ebert.
Mm-hmm. I just like the the vibe that I obviously try and give off of him is just cop who's closer and closer each day to maybe a breakdown, but maintaining his professionalism until he decides fuck it, I'm retired. But obviously will be shot the day before he was going to retire. Obviously.
Oh man,
One day when I worship. Andy. Even the last one.
I mean, considering the crew you have, no, don't wish this upon him. Leave him in a room with Query and just watch who breaks first. Like, yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to murder the Monitor. Yeah, I'm just going to kill him as well.
You've still got that in the goal page. Godslayer or Godkiller is still there on the goal page. So yeah.
I'll kill him one day, man. I'll end war by slaying if it's self something like that.
Sure. Yeah. Yep. And you said the Vesk had ridiculous names. Look at their ideals. I mean, come on, man. Lofty.
Mate is very Klingon, right? But yeah, that's about it. Thank fuck we got Ivan back. He's a joy to have again. So happy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another fucking NPC to add to the pile. Yep.
Ooh.
I'm excited.
Alright, just need to wobble, mate. Just the wobble.
I mean, it's the easiest job. I'm not gonna lie. Like, Ivan is the best character to RP for me.
Miscellaneous items every now and then.
It's good.
It's fine.
That's good. Anything else, bud?
Nope. That's fine.
Last and Lyko.
Hey.
Yatta.
I enjoyed doing the cop stuff. Ever. It was fun interacting with Babak again in the different contexts as well, and sort of seeing the parallels of the conversations. Matva and Kat and myself and Babak. Obviously a little later on Alex and Callum. I do understand that it obviously when it's a Babak thing, it tends to get a little Lyko heavy. So sorry if I do sort of dominate the conversation. But I do thoroughly enjoy getting to do sort of space cop stuff and use some of my abilities as well, because I've just got the level 12 one. Or sorry, it was the level 11 one, but obviously we did the double level up. So it was nice to be able to actually use that.
Yeah, it was good.
Or sort of
quite well timed, I thought.
Yeah, it was very appropriate. If I'd had it before, I'd use it in the Kivalari. I'm kind of thinking might be worth going back in the Kivalari actually, and because this hadn't occurred to me at the time, because why would it? But maybe using True Sight on it for a bit.
Yeah, like take a wander about, basically.
Anything mystically hidden, for instance. Maybe check out the cell. I know it'll obviously been looked over by the stewards, but who knows? So it gives me some interesting ideas, and yeah, it was a nice little one, bringing some plot forward, bringing us a little bit closer, I think, to having a clue what went down. Certainly confirming some of our suspicions about Vesk involvement. Does seem to be very, very fishy, but maybe not in the most obvious way, because that doesn't really necessarily make a great deal of sense, timeline-wise, for instance. Intriguing. I want to say, I hope that next time round we get an opportunity to kind of include everyone in the steward stuff a bit more, because yeah, it did get a bit me heavy, and I know that not everyone likes listening to my voice as much as I do.
You're welcome to come and join Weird in the Bath.
Thank you for the kind invitation. We got Ivan back after many sessions.
Yes.
So yeah, progress all round. Progress all round.
How many sessions, in fact, was it though? Let's find out.
It's quite a number.
Like, probably since session 32, right? I think.
More than a year.
Because Shobad to go Sounds like it was on.
That'll be an Akaton. Yes.
I actually don't know if it was Nakadon. I think that was like the last one on.
Sure bad to go. We went for sure bad noodles.
Yeah, but like I've got here, Sunny Side Up, Over Easy, Checkpoint, Salvage, Show Bad to Go, and that was all versus stuff, I'm sure. Yeah, because then we've got In Too Deep, I Fought the Law, Thunderhead, and Thunderhead is the one in the vault.
Mm.
And you go to Castroval,
Yeah.
then Akaton.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
So-
Dinosaurus Rex is the
Yep. So it is all the way back to,
dinner.
I think, Salvage or Show Bad to Go, one of those two is the last one.
One before the Thunderhead, probably, isn't it?
I Fought the Law, maybe? Could be.
Possibly.
Yeah, that might have been.
Certainly.
Mhm.
'Cause it was. I mean, I think Thunderhead was.
Yeah, because I was going to say,
the session after we left versus.
Yeah,
At
that-
this point, it is, whatever the case, at least a year.
yeah. So I think 35 is maybe right then. I think you're right there. So 35 all the way up to 76,
The breakneck pace of this game, man.
right? Yeah, oofed. Considering how much time that actually is, that's only a handful of weeks or something. But anyway, anything else to add? Lyko?
No, it's good fun. I look forward to continuing this.
I hope you enjoyed the what was almost a soon to be concluding chapter in the Kivalari, at least a story that we're in at the moment, which has obviously been since session 60, right? It's been a fairly ongoing little arc
A
that we've
major
had.
arc.
I've thoroughly enjoyed this mystery. I'm not gonna lie, it's been really fun to run. I like all the players involved. I like how you are dealing with them. I am very intrigued to see the outcomes of this. And I really enjoyed the fact that, as I said before, your level up new abilities were kind of perfect, actually, to have this, let's sit back and put the pieces together moments, Lyko. So that was quite cool to see those things. It's nice when I get to just kind of answer questions, even if it is vague answers. It's nice when I can just go, here's the slightly more streamlined series of events to focus on.
I cast knowledge.
Yeah, I cast what's the answer.
I'm jealous of this ability. I'm not gonna lie.
Me
So-
too.
Well, why don't you all just
Therefore,
sign up to
my
the stewards?
promise to abuse it as much as possible.
Sadly not a steward thing, is it? It's or like a space cop thing. It's a
No, it's class.
Mhm,
It's class
mhm.
thing.
So yeah, just
I get it from detective subclass.
but yes, that was a good session, guys. Thank you all for playing. That was super fun.
Running.
Obviously, once we've got I guess the Azure Flare crew here, this is going to be interesting, right? How we deal with that nonsense. How you explain Query and Thanaida and Isabel, I guess, is
We
also.
have to explain them.
I mean that's true, right?
Just say these are associates. We
They are my
apologise.
personal entourage.
It is self-evident.
Yes. Don't they just speak for themselves? You could say. Also, don't speak, Query. Don't speak. But anyway, so thank you for playing. Goodbye, Twitch, and everybody who watched. You know where to
Bye,
find.
everybody.
We're probably here on Monday again.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.